Warning, this podcast has some swears in it.
I'd rate it PG-13 at most, but let's just be on the safe side and say viewer discretion is advised.
So I figured because there's literally like an hour-ish long recording from Lenny again, that we try and keep it under 2 hours today.
I think that sounds great. Let's endeavor to do our best.
I have already hit record, and I do not believe the words that I said.
I have also hit record, and if we are caught on the microphone fucking lying through our teeth, then so be it.
Wouldn't be the first time, won't be the last.
We return to our ongoing series, Connecting the Dots. This case is running cold. We haven't had any new leads in weeks. I think it's time we truly take a break and recalibrate.
It's tough, Detective. After the Pale Blood incident, I feel like I really lost my mojo. Here, have some of these donuts. It felt like it was time to treat yourself, you know?
Holy shit. I can't believe it. You got those silly Shrek asshole donuts.
What the fuck did they serve me? I ordered regular maple bars and the classics.
I don't know what to tell you, Detective. I think maybe the real sickos are in that donut shop. I mean, they're so green and puckered. What were they thinking? Wait, hold on. No, I must be losing my mind. I'm staring at them and I'm starting to see the victim's eyeballs in the creases, Detective.
Keep it together.
My God. In his eyes will have all seeming of a demon's that is dreaming.
Bro's fully fucking lost it.
I need to go. I need to get help, Detective. This case, it's too much.
Alright, we're gonna get you set up with the employee wellness program. They're gonna take excellent care of you. I need you to get through this.
We gotta do it for those victims, Detective. We need to do it for the victims. We'll check in with our heroes in the next episode of Connecting the Dots.
Time to raise your blades, heroes.
And check some vibes.
It's the Heroes Blade Vibe Check.
So my friend sends me. I'm gonna forward this to you.
Yeah, explain thyself.
I'm like, all right. Not that we really can truly run out of ideas for connecting the dots, but I'm like, hey, like I need something like out of pocket, right? To act as the recurring bit.
You hit up the group chat. You outsourced your out-of-pocket content.
And then she's like, I don't know, talk about like Shrek asshole donuts. And I'm like, you what? And then there's fucking Mountain Dew Dunker donuts. And I'm like, I can do something with this, but this is also curse knowledge that I have to bring.
This is the kind of thing that you get tagged in other chats to apply your special Photoshop skills to.
Yes, this is, let's not publicly share with that information what I usually tag to do. Not everyone needs to know that. Then I share it in.
Listen, if you know, you know, and if you don't go looking for it. You're fine.
You know. Goatsy? Anyway.
Okay. Damn it.
Okay, so, are we going to get through this epised? But before we get to an hour-long smoking mids, let's find out.
No, lock in.
No, all right.
What are we doing in the upkeep?
Upkeep time. So, hey, I finally decided to update the Heroes Blade Vibe Check radio show Blue Sky link. Was this a smart idea in retrospect? I don't know, but I think it helps us be identified more. So now this is my future reference to future editor Cole to update the graphics and everything. Now it's hbvc-radio-mtg.bluesky.social. So there, we are now somewhat caught up with the fact that we started using radio in the title. So that's just, hey, if you don't follow us yet on social media, go do that on Blue Sky, because you see a shit post in Discord, or you see a shit post on Blue Sky.
Yeah, that's where the party's at. Come hang with us.
I'm going to fucking hate having to go back on every single episode and like update the links, and the graphics is probably the easiest thing to do, but still, fuck. It's just...
Why are you out here making extra work for yourself if thou doth not wish to do it?
Well, you see, sometimes you do have to make some changes, and then that just adds up leading to like an avalanche of things you have to do as a consequence. But that is the nature of being involved in content creation somewhat.
Damn. It's like art requires effort sometimes.
Damn, that's deep. So, hey, what have we been doing non-magic wise lately?
Hey, so the literature that I've been reading, the Demon Cycle series, I finished those. Satisfying conclusion. Really happy with the way that things turned out there.
Mm-hmm.
I will not be sharing any information about how exactly that goes down. So fucking 5 books, gamers, chop, and catch up with me.
Yeah, no kidding.
Book 5 does have a whole ass grimoire of wards in the back, though. It's pretty sweet. So if you were going through the series and like wondered what the fuck these all looked like, you finally get the like concrete images of them and can apply the logic to how those should be arranged if thou wish to draw your own word circles.
Interesting. So they give you some visual reference for what's actually going on in the book.
Yeah, exactly. Now I'm thinking about like, how do I replicate this on a Magic the Gathering card? I'd need fucking tiny paintbrushes. So we're figuring that out.
Yeah. This kind of reminds me when I was reading the Aragon, like the Inheritance Cycle for the Aragon books by Christopher Poloni and Paolini, excuse me. And he had like all the Elvish words, like all the magic words that he used throughout the books, like in the back of the book. So you're like, oh, like, damn, you really are pulling off your whole language here, aren't you?
Oh, I love a fantasy glossary. There's one of those in the Demon Cycle books too.
So yeah, when people really do get really deep and nerdy about it, it's great seeing like the result of it. And even when it comes to like visual things that like you're like, what the fuck does this look like? And even them putting the effort in for the Demon Cycle, that sounds pretty sick.
Hell yeah. What you been getting up to?
Another movie. I thought that the Avatar Aang The Last Airbender movie was not going to be coming out for like another, what is it, 2 months or something. And hey, Paramount Plus, it's on Paramount Plus, and it was already been out for months already apparently because it got leaked or something. And we're in dystopian hellhole where they're like, hey, the Avatar The Last Airbender movie? And everyone's like, yeah. They're like, we are not going to put it out in movie theaters. And everyone's like, what in the fuck are you talking about? And then they're like, we're going to show it in 2 movie theaters. And everyone's like, what in the fuck? So does that change the fact?
People are out here asking to give them money, and they're just like, I don't think we're going to do that, though.
Now, that being said, yes, my girlfriend and I watched the movie. It was so I'm still ruminating on it because I literally just watched it last night. The thing I can say off the very tippity top is that it is a visually stunning movie. Like, it is really good. If you thought that they hit their stride with how they animated things in The Legend of Korra, and you have to remember, of course, that it was like a TV show, and it still looked pretty good in a lot of the stuff that they were doing. Damn, movie money look really good when animated. So on that front, it's really good. I think there's going to be some people that have issues with it in terms of like, how do we have like an interquel movie between 2 series and a few like comics that came out after the original series, and how like it like the status quo isn't challenged, and not enough in a way where there's obviously no lasting consequences that like, oh, why didn't they mention it in the Legend of Korra? You know, like it has to be self-contained. So I can see some people having some issues with that. That being said, the character that is voiced by Dave Bautista, fucking awesome. He has truly become an actor of a different caliber by pulling off like whatever roles he's been doing in live action the last few years, and now that he's doing some voice work, like he sells it. It works. It's great.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, Avatar Aang. If you got Paramount Plus or you got some alternative ways of watching it, go watch it. If you're an Avatar fan. Final Fantasy, what's going on with you?
Hey, so finished Final Fantasy VII. It's fucking peak. I understand the hype. Hearing One Winged Angel in context was fucking lit. You know, that's the kind of thing that gets like sampled and remixed, and you hear outside of the context people just playing it raw, and it's like a really good track. But all of the things that are happening in the game while that is playing just elevates it so much that I was like clapping and pointing at the screen like I was popping off. It's a really good moment. Sephiroth is a certified yapper all fucking game, and when it's time to do business,
can't stop. He's like, I have to exposition at you, and you're like, Seph, man, come on, we got shit to do.
He's making some fucking speeches, and you get down there for the final battle into the crater. Bro does not say a fucking word.
I'm done yapping, Cloud. Oh shit, guys, you serious?
It's go time. Oh man, it's so sick. And then there's that moment at the end that like you versus Sephiroth and the final moments, and then you get to the menu option for Omni Slash shows up.
Yeah.
And if you haven't like unlocked that, then you have no fucking idea what you're getting into.
What is this? What?
It's just the fact that they give you your like final limit break if you want it for the absolute final moment is just like, I'm in this moment, and in that the pressure of the situation has unlocked the secret technique that I'm gonna use to fucking wail on him, bro. It's so good. It's so sick. Very shonen anime, and doing that in a video game, peak.
We got to I'm gonna be like, oh wait, yeah, I did watch another movie, or I rewatched Final Fantasy VII Advent Children the other weekend.
Oh yeah, you tagged me about that. I do need to get that in the watch queue.
You need to watch the complete edition, because they add bits and pieces, and it's still a nonsense movie, but it is still also Final Fantasy VII Advent Children. And that shit,
it's got a fucking Buster sword that splits into a bunch of tiny swords, and I thought that shit was fucking peak.
7 blades. You ever was like, why does it need 7 blades? I'm like, I need you to shut the fuck up. One, it's sick. Second of all, it's the fusion swords, so shut the hell up and watch. And, you know, like I'm hanging a bunch with like late 30, early 40s guys. And one of them was like, this is some weeb ass shit. I'm like, exactly. Yes. Shut up. It's peak. But yeah, the complete edition adds some more things to it that make it more satisfying. But obviously, of course, when you already know like what the final scenario is and like what the whole movie's about, everyone, the biggest known secret, non-secret known to like everyone is that like, oh, Sephiroth's in the movie. You're like, oh, of course. But then they also hit you with the with One Winged Angel performed by the Black Mages for the movie specifically, and you're like, oh
sick.
We're doing it again. Like, oh dude, yeah, no, it's hype. It's fucking hype as shit. And that's why you also got to watch complete, because they extend it to go even further beyond that, and all the payoffs and everything. So hey, you know, Final Fantasy VII is peak.
I'm pretty sure I have that in my media collection, so we will absolutely get on it.
What are the chances that we can finally get you to play Final Fantasy VII Remake?
We are very close to that. I probably need to finish the Eiffel Fantasy though, and then we can get into it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What other Final Fantasy stuff are you up to?
We're very close to the end of this project. It was just 6 and 15 that I needed to try and roll credits on. So we started Final Fantasy VI again. The first time I played it up through to where you land in the World of Ruin, and then they handed a open world RPG to me on the SNES, and I was just like, I think I'm gonna bail on that.
You were gonna open Game Facts, and you were going to finish playing the game.
Yeah, that's what we've done this time. I have a guide that we're following that we're pretty satisfied with, and we're just gonna treat that like my fucking tour guide, and we're gonna see all of the content.
Yeah, great, perfect. To wrap it up for me, still playing Baldur's Gate 3 with Jacqueline.
Yeah, speaking of open world RPGs,
yeah,
it's not like that open, but like you get it.
It's pretty dang open.
There's too much to do in that game.
Yes, and I'm really truly the question. Am I neurodivergent? Still big question mark on that. But I am the I'm leading the I've been working on this leading up towards the episode, and I think this just really sells the experience. And I think I'm hoping this will be the title if you agree with me here. I am playing with an ADHD kleptomaniac stealth ranger from Skyrim, except it's Baldur's Gate 3. I'm leading Jacqueline through this game being like, I need you to stop stealing stuff from people for 5 seconds so we can like move on with this game. And she's like, but I want to steal from this person. I'm like, okay, I've saved the game for us to reload to this exact moment when you give up. Please proceed. Tell me, how are you going to steal from this person? About 10 reloads later, she's like, I think I got it. I'm like, okay, well, let's get the fuck out of here. And then she has the fucking audacity to be like, okay, we're in combat. And then she sneaks in, does a typical Skyrim stealth archer shot and kills someone, and then dips out of the combat. And I'm like, yep, that is a video game. And then she re-enters combat by doing the same thing again. And the guys are like, where is she? I can't get her. Oh no. And hide your wife.
Sounds like she found a way to fucking max.
Yeah, no. I'm partially to blame because remember when I said that she was complaining about the sweaty tryhards? Well, unfortunately, we literally made the stealth archer concept in Skyrim in Baldur's Gate 3 by combining Ranger and Rogue, where you get all the stealth bonuses and all the bonuses for attacking outside of combat and the sneak attack damage and critical hits and all this other nonsense, where it's just like, add that on top with modding a character in with a pair of wings with like huge flight capabilities. Yeah, it's a mess. You've
become the sweaty tryhard.
Yeah. I'm partially to blame for that because I respect her because she's like, oh, I want to do this or that. I'm like, while she's asleep, open the game, go to her character sheet and just rewrite a few things. We're like, okay, we're good to go. So yeah, we're at the end of Act 2, and then we're going to be going into Act 3, and we're going to see if we can keep the momentum up. But we are definitely having a much more, compared to the last time, a much smoother experience, and we're getting more things done than we did the first time.
Good for you. I'm glad to hear that. I have not yet seen Act 3, but I'm glad for everybody who has made it that far.
One of these days, over on Lexicon, I don't know how it's going to happen. We need to get the Spooky Bobs back together with Empress Quinn and try and get you and Dale through the freaking game for once.
I don't know if I like that enough for that.
No, probably not.
I have a lot of fun with it, but every time I get into combat, I'm like, fuck this again.
It just goes to show you're not doing it right.
I guess. I don't know.
You do not have the secret sauce. You do not have the sauce of other people allowing you to you're like, oh man, this game's combat is sauceless, and then everyone starts styling on you, and you're like,
the combat's all really good and cool. It's just my power fantasy is yapping my way through this shit, and every time I have to fight, it's like I have failed that mission.
well, you clearly did not spec to be a yapper, so that's problem number one. Anyway, let's move on to vibe checks so we can stop complaining about video games and start complaining about
this
Magic.
Isn't a fucking Baldur's Gate 3 cast.
But what if I want it to be? Anyway, okay. Vibe checks. What do you got for this week?
I have for you Lord Skitter, Sewer King. He's from Wilds of Eldraine, I think. And this guy I had to show my begrudging respect for initially because he was whooping my ass in Standard. I'm trying to play like Mardu Reanimator and bring Valgavoth back, and Lord Skitter here is just like, I'm just going to eat that from your graveyard. And I'm like, okay, respect. I'm trying to do something fucking busted, but please get out of my way. Anyway, he's a 3/3 legendary creature, rat noble for 2 and a black, and whenever another rat you control enters, exile up to 1 target card from an opponent's graveyard, and at the beginning of combat on your turn, make a 1/1 black rat creature token. With this token can't block. I looked at this and was like, Bitter Blossom, is that you? And you can hold the Hero's Blade? And I'm just like, everything that you can do with the Bitter Blossom per turn, plus the fucking Graveyard Hate gravy on top of that. Like, I'm going to farm that value on multiple axes, and we're going to do that and have a 6/5. Like, what's good?
Yeah, I mean, Nadir kind of wishes, like, it's pretty, you know what, chuck them all in the same boat, you know, like, the end result's the same, but big. It's so funny looking at Lord Skitter and being like, wow, this is the most like normal rat that you can have in the command zone and not immediately blow a blood vessel because someone's playing like fucking Ashcoat or something.
Ashcoat busted. Marinar busted.
Yeah, I'm sick and tired of these rats with busted ass abilities.
Yeah. Fucking Karumonix, the poison rats commander.
I don't even know that one, and I probably do, but I'm also just blanking.
Yeah,
out
Lord
of my
Skitter
mind.
is definitely the most normal rat type commander.
Mm-hmm. And I'm thankful for that.
All right, who you got for me?
I can't remember. I'm pretty sure we haven't talked about this one before, but Tajik Legion's Edge has been popping up in a couple like Discords, and the card always comes up in my Sephiroth deck. So I think he passes the check for a multitude of reasons. One, obviously, you want a good, resilient leader for your growing army. Having a haste mentor 3/2, becoming a 6/4 is pretty good. So you're always nearly guaranteeing putting that +1 counter on that smaller creature, like that whatever that 1 drop that you put down. And then in a pinch, if you got, any floating Boros mana ready to go to pay for that first strike, you got a Tajik that's usually sticking around pretty long term.
This guy is sick, actually. I think I've looked at him and then looked away because I was not respecting Boros appropriately at that time in my life.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm sitting down and looking at this no, hang on, this beats ass. And if you wanted to be a real bitch, you can play Pyroclasm Typal. And then once he's big enough that he's outside of the range of Pyroclasm, you really don't give a fuck.
Yeah, that whole prevent all non-combat damage that would be dealt to other creatures you control. You can leverage the first strike and then do the whole Cole thing of block your thing. It doesn't have lethal damage assigned to it. Lightning bolt it for the remainder of the damage. And the opponent's like, fuck, I can't believe you did that to me. And that is Tajik's special power after losing indestructibility like a fucking chump. But that's perhaps Tajik Blade of the Legions for another day.
Yeah, he costs 4 and doesn't do the whole mentor. Legion's Edge has a lot going for him.
Yeah, but you do have to remember that you will compare to Tajik Blade of the Legion, who's going to be a 7/7 3 3-tap hit. I mean, you know, it's pretty hard to beat that sometimes.
It's just about going wide or going tall. Anyway, that's enough Boros fangirling.
All right. Let's get into comments.
Yeah, up first we've got Questioning Valdogriff, who says, the accents I remember from the audio versions of the Lorwyn story, narrated by Tatiana Gray, were the Boggart side story, Much Ado About Thieving, by Toby Ongunduran, who read Auntie Grubb's lines like she was an old lady from the Bronx and gave Ashling a cowboy accent. An excellent choice. That's sick as hell.
I mean, you know, sometimes you just need that extra real world flair to give these fantasy creatures give them a real head turning accent. You'll be like, now Ashling, what's going on over here, girl? But yeah, that was those were some choices, and you know what? Sometimes those choices are pretty great. Lobster here saying my kid is 6 years old and we grind Crash Team Racing every weekend morning. It is so frustrating and so fun. That game has no business being as hard as it is, but it sure as hell turning my kid into a thick-skinned gamer. When she won her first race, shit got real. I'm like, is this a warning sign of things to come? Are you gonna be like 1v1 me in Smash Bros and you just annihilate your 6-year-old? Like, I don't know.
I'm fucking clapping and hooting and hollering. We love to see Crash Team Racing gaming.
Mm-hmm. Man, we need Diddy Kong Racing back in our lives.
And shout out to the classics.
Mm-hmm. And then our last it's not our last comment. Our next comment.
Yeah, bless me, Anya says, some sick tech this episode. Stealing that Sentry for a blink list I'm building. Hell yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I think I need to look into that Sentry at some point, but not right now. Maybe later when I can appreciate it better. And then Lenny here saying, I thought it was fine, but the director, and this is in reference to Supergirl. I thought it was fine, but the director clearly loved Fury Road and decided to make a Supergirl movie about it. And what's wrong with that? Fury Road's pretty good.
I've seen like half of it.
You should probably get back on and finish that. It is cinema.
I did not appreciate it. I got like halfway through and was just like, I don't get what's going on here.
And you're like, are you going to watch the original movies to get some more context? And the answer is no, Quinn. You don't even need to do that. Anyway.
I don't know. There's definitely a lot of people that Fury Road is for, but it was not me.
All right. So, let's DJ Spacegirl track, yeah?
Yeah. This week I have exercised a level of power hitherto unheard of.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't realize I had stem separation technology in FL Studio, and so we started playing around with that button. We took the main instruments riff from Kim Petras's Icy, as well as the chorus from that, and then we took a verse from 2 verses actually from Lil Wayne's track President Carter, and we put that verse and that vocal and main synth riff together into a track. And then I was like, I could just cover these vocals, and so we covered the vocals. And so that's what we have now.
So now we have legally distinct remix by Empress Quinn?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll see how the YouTube video goes, but yeah, let's go check that out.
Yeah. Is this thing on? Oh, what the fuck is up, gamers? I'm not a human until I have to be. Sitting in the world, I got life in my hand. So these days, try to think twice when I can. Money on my mind, this God is my witness. Love don't live here, and it don't even visit. I do this for my uptown politicians. Walked in the kitchen, found satisfied until their mama missing. Niggas ain't satisfied until their mama missing. I'm a monster, exorcisms, tote tools like mechanics, mechanisms, detrimental on any instrumental. I say you rappers sweet, I pay the incidentals. I'm beneficial, I say you rappers sweet, tiramisu. I like my shortcake shorter. Ain't a motherfucker harder than
Great track. Glad you figured out how to do that. I expect that you're going to be playing with that a lot moving forward.
Yeah, probably. It's made sampling a lot easier.
Yeah, no kidding. You're like, no, how can I get this track from this song? Unless.
Yeah, you used to have to find the drum breaks manually, and now you can just decide, I want this to be a drum break, and cut all the other sounds out.
Technology is pretty cool that way. Okay, creative media. I got a chunk here, but I wanted to check in with you first. What have you been looking into? What have you seen? Anything new?
Nothing new. I think we're just watching the usual sources of content with the Guild Pack, and the MTG Goldfish podcast has been a fun listen.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other stuff that I posted about Time Waster 9000, you know the drill, Lure, like, yeah, it's the usuals.
Yeah. LCP doing, Andy and Kyle swapping legends for
Yes,
Brew.
that was a fun listen too.
Inspiring. Maybe we should do that one point.
Oh, and they did a Resident Evil, you know what's cool? Listen to that.
Yeah,
that
hey. Not only did Andy hit us with a new You Know What's Cool episode out of nowhere, but he ran it back with Zach for 2 episodes in a row. I've been chatting with him in the background because, me, I love trying to shoehorn myself into other people's podcasts. And I'm like, hey, bud, hey. And he's told me, hey, everything's busy and all this other stuff, but he is looking forward to trying to get me back on to talk about more childhood video game stuff. And I'm going to try and come at it from a completely different angle. And hopefully people like it. But hey, Resident Evil, yeah, that is cool.
I am sold on playing a Resident Evil.
On a Resident Evil. Which one? a Resident Evil?
Probably 4, because that is very highly regarded.
It's also,
And
come on. You could parry shit.
I also have the first Resident Evil for Nintendo DS, so maybe we'll check that out.
Wait, they put that thing on the DS?
Yeah, it was pretty cool, actually. I read the Nintendo Power coverage on that fucking decades ago.
What the fuck? I didn't even know they did that. But you know what? They did put some... They managed to put a lot of shit in backport. Was that Resident Evil Deadly Silence? Or is that Resident Evil?
Yes.
Okay, I was
you can tell because it's got DS in the subtitle for dual screen.
As every single fucking one did at that era. But anyway.
They thought they were so clever, and they're right.
So yeah, I guess in terms of the usual stuff, LCP reading Kristen's articles over on Card Kingdom, where there's the obvious. There's some stuff that she's been writing recently about 10 budget alternatives to Wheel of Fortune, and is Swan Song even good anymore? It still is. Some equipment based stuff of cheeky ways to get a commander damage killed, and 10 most overrated and overplayed equipment in Commander. Number 1 will make you cry, and then some Hobbit, some upcoming Hobbit stuff. Because hey, damn, that Hobbit set is coming up dang quick.
Oh yeah, that's what's surprising is I don't have a Hobbit brew yet. I gotta get on that.
Yeah, I'm still I don't know if I have anything screaming at me yet for the Hobbit, but we'll still have to wait and see. But so far, in terms of just whatever previews we are getting, there's been some pretty cool stuff. Not much to say yet. Probably, maybe we'll chat about it next episode, is what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
But back to some of the other things. So, hey, I guested over on Greetings from the Blind Eternities over with Kaz. Editor Light.
That's a fun listen.
Got the episode out, and I'm like, hey, Quinn, you should get on this podcast. So we'll see how that goes. But hey, yeah, chatting it up with Kaz. And we got Kaz signed up to be joining us some point in the future. But we get back to you with guests once a month, maybe asterisk sometimes. So we'll get there eventually for them. I'm also going to be guesting on the Untapped Libraries podcast, as you and I were recommended in a way by Mike, good old Mike Carosa. So he's got an episode out, and a few familiar names actually over on that podcast. So it'd be worth going through their library just to see the who's who and what they talk about. And also, hey, they're Canadian, so woohoo, let's go.
Hell yeah. #CanCon.
And speaking of Canadians, one of my friends in our real life group chat, or our real life Magic group, sent this link to We Built Commander decks using bulk founded our LGS by Hurry Up and Pass. I watched that video and it was fucking amazing. I was like, damn, these guys are really funny, and it's entertaining to watch them build bulk commander decks and see what kind of fucking nonsense they got up to. And it had some twists and turns. It was pretty fucking great. So I'm recommending that episode, and to also watch the Crank Off, where everyone was playing.
The what?
Sit down and watch the episode, babes. I don't know what to tell you. So then, one thing that I didn't realize would be intersecting was sort of our spiritual predecessor in a way. The Castle Super Beast podcast had about a 30-minute segment of one of their recent episodes where the host Wooly...
I listened to that, even though you were like, fucking, here's no context.
There's the timestamp. They are talking about Commander. Go listen to it. Quinn, we are their distaff counterparts. You are Wooly and I am Pat, except I am tall and have a head full of hair.
Yeah.
And you're trans.
Yeah.
and like purple.
Yeah.
But yeah, Wooly got introduced, was invited out to play Commander. And then for the podcast, you listen to Pat be all curmudgeon-y, as you correctly sussed out that is
He's
how
such a curmudgeon. Holy shit.
and yet also Quinn, and yet also both of these guys, like these are podcast. This is a pair of guys who do podcasts for literally hours, like we do, and they talk about gaming news and all this other stuff of like what they've been up to for their streaming stuff. They're popular streamers. They're into fighting games, and Pat's into Final Fantasy 14, and both of them are as likely to be curmudgeon-y, are as likely to have whimsy in their hearts, and are as likely to say the most batshit takes you have ever heard in your life. But in this case, as curmudgeon-y as Pat was regarding like Magic and the Fortnite-ification, whatever way you want to describe it. But they did settle on Smash Bros. And honestly, I'm like, okay, good. We can use this language and continue to perpetuate it because playing Commander is Smash Bros. And it's fucking awesome.
I have long said that.
And this is known. The definitely had no chance in hell chance of us collabing with Castle Super Beast for a super episode of God knows what, I think would be probably the most chaotic shit nonsense ever. But I want to know, I as everyone's saying, except for the naysayers who are like, no, Wooly, get out. You got to escape the gravitational force of getting into Magic. I say, Wooly, good luck, man. That shit sounds fucking awesome. What you were up to.
Yeah, they were having a good time. Like dude said, it was the replacement for poker night with the bros.
There you go. And you know what? It's the same shit at the end of the fucking day.
Yeah. Go play card version of Smash Bros with your homies. You'll have a good time.
So I got the snip for the link in there. And then, of course, to tie into decks that we're going to be talking about here, I will never forget you, Harry and Riders of the Storm, as I am linking here an older video of MTG Mudsta with Garna the Blood Flame, as well as, I'm going to be sharing the link to the old tapped out list of from that episode that inspired a deck that I'll be talking about. And yeah, not much more to say. Garna the Blood Flame, I think, still has the sauce, and it's pretty you can do some pretty cool and some pretty bullshit stuff. That's all I will say on that matter.
Yeah, she's been doing some bullshit for quite some time and will continue to do bullshit into the future.
I'll talk about the deck later, but I set it down and someone's like, are you, what is this? Bracket 4? What the fuck is this? And then we proceeded.
Like, yeah, Garna the Blood Flame, hang on, what are we doing here?
And then we lost to Garna Blood Fist of Keld on turn 4. So really, who was doing some more bullshit?
What the fuck?
I'll talk about it later. So let us transition to the part that I still need to figure out where I should really be putting this shit. Let's go into the Smoking Mids mention. Lenny's got a guest. It's
the answer is you're putting it right here. Also, you can just fucking say that with your chest and it makes it a good transition. Take that again with more confidence.
Well, let's go to the Smoking Mids dimension with Lenny and his special guest. Let's go see what they have to say about Commander Legends Battle for Baldur's Gate.
Hell yeah.
We can't be held responsible for what's going on in this episode of Smoking Mids.
Descend into the dungeon and talk about some Dungeons and Drag mids with Battle for Baldur's Gate. And this was your suggestion, Joe. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me back up. Editor Cole, fix that. I should introduce my guest. We have the absolutely wonderful, lovely Joey Schultz here. Joey, why don't you tell the folks in podcast land who you are, in case they didn't already know, and where they can find you?
Hey, Lenny, thank you very much for having me. It's always a treat to catch up. We were saying literally before recording, it's just like, man, we need more excuses to catch up. So this is a perfect reason to do so. I'm very happy, very excited. Hi, everyone. I'm Joey Schultz. I host the EDH Rec YouTube channel. I also do a little bit of helping out with some Spell Slayers editing if you're following that Magic Gameplay show with Irene the Alien and Bosco, which is a fun time. You can find me everywhere on socials, JM Schultz, or you can follow the EDH Rec YouTube channel and all of its affiliated socials and things like that. I'm over there on EDH Rec trying to take some of that data that we all know and give a bit more of a human perspective to what might really be going on with it. And one of my favorite things to do ever is to both find those hidden gems, challenge the stats that we all know to see if there's stuff that's getting overlooked or maybe stuff that's getting overplayed, as well as finding ways that we can look at this game and see if any lessons from this game can help us to become better people along the way. Because I think that enjoying your time with other people is kind of the whole point of what this game is really about. So yeah, that's kind of me. I'm, again, just so happy to hang out with you for a little bit, Lenny. It's fantastic whenever I get the chance to do so.
Oh, well, thank you so much. And then, yeah, actually, we're kind of doing a little bit of our own challenge the stats thing where here we call it smoking mids.
Nice. Yeah.
So, those cards that aren't a little too loud. As I was saying earlier, you suggested Battle for Baldur's Gate, and I said yes so emphatically because I personally love this set so much. D&D is a love for me that came before Magic, and so whenever they do this, I just sign me right up. I'm first in line. But I'd love to hear your thoughts and impressions on this set.
I mean, when you pitched me on what the idea is here, it's just like, hey, do you want to talk about some mid cards or maybe some underrated cards for a little while and maybe pick a set to do it? I was just like, yeah, get to do a whole episode challenging some stats. It sounds amazing to me. Let's go. Battle for Baldur's Gate, I felt, was especially a good candidate for that because it is, I think, in general, a very harshly judged set, which for several reasons can be extremely fair. The higher price on this one, it was given a premium price tag despite having pretty mid to low reprint value within the set, so it messed up a lot of game stores for a couple of reasons related to that as well, and ultimately earned itself a bit of a reputation for being a letdown. The fact that it has the initiative mechanic in there, which is also a little bit divisive, probably didn't help things. That said, even though it didn't have fantastic reprint value within the set, the new cards that it offered remain to me a treasure trove of overlooked cards that are really remarkable when you actually get the chance to see them in action. I think a lot of the commanders that they designed in the set were also really remarkable. This is the origin of my favorite commander ever, that being Babala Saga Night Witch, who I'm obsessed with. The name Commander Legends 2 Battle for Baldur's Gate or whatever, I'm sure it's a mouthful and there were marketing reasons all up the wazoo for this. So I totally understand why people would probably have a knee-jerk reaction to this set not being the most fantastic place in the world. That said, if you give some of the commons and uncommons a chance, I promise they're extremely impressive. And this also is, to date, probably the set that I've drafted the most often.
I'm so jealous. I have a box sitting in my closet right now.
Yeah,
that I'm like, I've been wanting to break it out. I want to make plans this year, and I'm gonna make it happen. This is gonna be the year we're gonna draft Baldur's Gate, baby.
You gotta get that box out of the closet. That box is gay. You gotta let it come out of the closet.
Right?
Come on.
It's Pride. What am I doing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Although I don't know if this releases during Pride, but you know what? It'll probably release during my birthday month, or at least my birthday quarter. So, it's on me. I got to get it out of the closet.
Cool.
Yeah. I'll go ahead and I'll kick us off with a card.
Yeah.
All right. This is actually something that we make fun of our editor for doing the buyout for this card.
What the fuck?
So Great Sword of Tyr. I almost shouldn't even be talking about this card on this podcast because most of the people already know, but I'm talking about it because I love it. So, 1 and a white for an equipment. Whenever equipped creature attacks, put a 1/1 counter on it and tap up to 1 target creature defending player controls. Equips for a white. Absolutely great for if you're going to be attacking with stuff. It just you push something out of the way, and you get a little bit bigger. Like, I have seen this card do so much work. And if your commander's got something like Menace, this is practically unblockable, I think.
I was just gonna say Menace, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, now what do you think about the Greatsword here?
Again, I've played the Baldur's Gate Limited a lot. This was, I would call it almost like mythic common status within that environment, because it's just like, you move. Yeah, little token, not a problem, which also leaves you, the person who got their stuff tapped, defenseless against future attackers as well. That's a political aspect of this card that I do think is kind of relevant. But the thing that really stuck out to me was how, you remember the original Commander Legends had Seraphic Greatsword? I think was the name, which was the mythic, and it was flat, unplayable trash garbage. It was so bad. It would like give you an angel if you attacked someone with higher life, maybe. But like it was extremely not good. This card came out and it was a common, and it was so much more impressive than that mythic from a previous Commander Legends set.
Right.
Yeah. I especially if you're doing some budget equipment, I think you could do a whole lot worse than this. There's just enough of it to be kind of a sliver in your finger, a little bit of a nettling nuisance common that people may not identify as something that's actually causing a bit of a problem, but it does put in a lot more work than it looks. Especially the fact that it gives a +1 counter, so those buffs are going to be repeated and going up. You got a hardened scales type of deck going on to make it even more of a buff over time. It'll sneak up on you, this card.
Oh yeah, and no, you know what? If you're like on the other end of it, I feel like you'd feel like Clown Shoes spending your Beast Within or like Anguished Unmaking on that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, all right.
Yeah,
what
well,
have you
and
got
you think
for
of
me?
also some cards like, you know, Hilda the Icy Crown, decks that care about tapping other stuff down. There's actually other applications outside of that too, where that could be a nice role filler as well. So, yeah, again, just little cards that make you smile or that make your opponents frown.
I love that. All right, what do you got for me?
Oh goodness, where do I start, bro? I wrote down so many and sent you a bunch.
Start at the beginning, Joey.
We started. I'd sent you a list in color order because I wanted to make sure I had at least one per color. But I think I will actually just kind of cherry pick here. I'm gonna go with one that's put in so much work for me over time, which is You Look Upon the Tarrasque. This is a 5-mana green instant. I know that sounds like a lot. Hear me out. I promise it's very good within the context I'm about to describe. 5-mana green instant, and you choose one of these options. The first mode, not that great. The first mode will let you prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to you and creatures you control this turn. So that means that your creatures will deal damage, so you could block very profitably. That's kind of nice, but for 5 mana, you know, that's pretty expensive. So the second mode had better be great, right? Well, it is. The second mode would allow you to give target creature +5/+5 and indestructible until end of turn, and then all creatures your opponents control that are able to block that creature this turn must do so. This has been an all-star performer for me in my Winter deck because Winter has natural Death Touch. So if you are playing a commander that has Death Touch, or just a lot of creatures that have Death Touch, and you give one of those creatures +5 and indestructible, and then it attacks your opponent, even if that creature has just 1 power to start with, they have to block with all their stuff, and you can kill 6 things by assigning 1 death damage to each of those creatures. I've won so many games off of the back of this card. I don't know what else to say. You Look Upon the Tarrasque is, in certain contexts, a one-sided board clear that could also allow some of your other creatures to get by unscathed if you need good attack triggers or whatever. I really, really like this card. It has really overperformed for me. 5 mana looks daunting at first, but once you see it within those contexts, your opponents go, "Oh no!" And that's the noise that their soul makes, you know?
Ooh. Sorry, excuse me for a minute, Joey. I'm adding this to the maybe board for my Winter deck.
Yay!
Because you are so right, and just the fact that, like, if you have the 5 mana and nothing else is going on, like, you also can fog. Like, I feel bad paying 5 mana for a fog. But then having that there too, the lure effect. Ooh, very good pick. I really am into this.
Lure effects are, in general, I think just very good. This one just also happens to add you like some security and some extra removal attached to that. I imagine this also in some decks like Grothama, All Devouring, for instance, which really wants your opponents to block so that is dealt more damage. Now that I think about it, Grothama wants to die and this gives it indestructible. Editor, let's maybe cut that.
Well, listen, let me tell you, as a Grothama player myself, you have a lot of ways to make sure that Grothama dies.
That's good. That's a very good point. Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of context for this that I think are very, very impressive. So even though it's 5 mana, I totally get why people would look at it and be a little bit like, I don't know about that. But once you see it in play, the lure effect is great. You put it on something with Death Touch, it's truly brilliant to see it do all of that work. And again, I think Hensi players will be familiar with like the abilities of a Tree Shaker Chimera, which can distract all of your opponent's stuff. And this has that feeling to me, where it's going to distract your opponents in a way that is truly devastating for them.
Nice. Yeah, no, I'm in love. Sign me up. But it's really funny because we're talking about 5 mana things that also fog, and I put Jaheira's Respite on my list.
Oh yeah, sure.
I mean, I've been getting blown out by this card a lot lately. Like, this card is just, they've been blowing out my back with this one. And,
Hey, yo!
oh yeah, I forgot to mention, we are allowed to swear. There's a swear disclaimer at the start of this, so we can go crazy.
Okay.
But 5 mana, once again, holding it up in green, but like, you know, those Drago Simic decks exist. Search your library for X basic lands, where X is the number of creatures attacking you. Put those cards onto the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle, and then prevent all combat damage that would be dealt this turn. I have not had experience playing it, but oftentimes what happens is I'm like, yeah, this is going to be great. I got my tokens. I'm going to be sending this out. And they're just like Jaheira's Respite. And then they're going to untap with pornographic amounts of mana. And my attacks have done nothing.
Yeah, this is showing up in nearly twice as many decks. Yeah, you look up on the Jurassic, showing up in 0.37% of decks that could play it, so just about 15,000 decks. And this one's showing up in 30,000 decks, so 0.71% of decks that can play it. You know, I think I really like this the most in like a Witherbloom deck, where it's like reducing the cost. It just seems really like, hey, here's a 1 mana ability to do that. Maybe you don't even need it that. This especially to get to your point of like, the combat feels like this is gonna go my way, and then absolutely the frick not, it super doesn't. I track my games for data episodes at the end of each year to reflect upon, you know, which of my decks are performing well, how are things going, you know, in terms of like what turn do games usually end, or when is the first knockout. But another thing that I track is how games end, whether that was through a combo, through mill, through commander damage, through life loss and ping and burn effects, or through a big combat swing. And the vast majority of games end in huge combat swings. So fogs can just be this little time walk on the most important turn of your opponents. And this is exactly the type of thing to put you in a good situation, especially if you're playing a landfall deck. I mean, I know a lot of like super powerful landfall decks are going to do like constant mists to sacrifice a land and keep on fogging that. And that thing's really, really cracked for sure. But if you also want a ton of landfall triggers while you're fogging, Tanuk decks are going to go like, hello about this. You know, AC decks are going to be like, hi. Like, that also sounds like a fun way to twist the knife during your opponent's important combat step.
Absolutely. You know what? Think about it if you don't want that loud pack of constant mists. Because, you know what? The thing I'm going to knock about constant mists is what it does to you in the next game of Commander you play.
That's a very good point. Yeah, Constant Miss is one of those cards that I take out of my decks, and I'm just like, yeah, this is way too good. But Jaheira's Respite is the type of card that I would have a little bit of a gremlin energy if I were to put it in somewhere.
Well, like, that's the moment where it's like, oh yeah, I fogged it, and then I got all these lands, and then I just took over and won. And Constant Mist is, yeah, okay, I guess there's nothing I can do about that.
Yeah.
All right. I would love to hear more from you, because your list was so awesome.
Oh, thanks. You know, I think I'll move now here to another that really impressed me when I had my Karazakar deck together. This one was Coronation of Chaos. Also showing up in like 0.3% of decks that can play it. Only like 16,000 decks are playing it out there of the, 4.5 million in the Idiot database. Coronation of Chaos is a 3-mana red sorcery that says up to 3 target creatures can't block this turn, go to them. So until your next turn, those creatures will have to attack, and have to attack someone who isn't you, if able. Goad is a brilliant little mechanic. I've tested around with a bunch of different variations of Goad decks. For a while, I had a Cardoor deck, for instance, which is like a pseudo Goad. And I had that one as a Planeswalkers list specifically, because when creatures are goaded, they can't attack Planeswalkers. They have to attack a player other than you, if able. So I was able to ult my Planeswalkers very easily in that type of deck. But this is the type of backup card that would make things, would make the wheels get greased, you could say. It doesn't sound like a whole lot at first, just like, 3 creatures, that's, not great. But the fact that it also says those creatures can't block kind of allows you to set someone else up for failure so that you can hit them while then they have to hit somebody else. Is Disrupt Decorum and Taunt the Rampart better? Yeah, sure. But is this card 25 cents? Yeah, also that. And it's kind of a nice extra 1-2 punch. You know, if they know that your Disrupt Decorum has been milled or already cast or whatever, they're like, phew, okay, I won't have to worry about that again. And then here you come with one more little annoying piece of crap here. That also, at least when I had my Karazagar deck together, or if you're playing something like Furkrag or Netly Borka or any of those, getting those extra attack triggers, I think, is very, very helpful. Since, you know, with Karazagar or things like that, it would like draw you extra cards, and this was just a nice way to make sure that my plan A could connect to my plan B and things like that.
Yeah, I'm into this one because this one has given me the vibes of like one of my favorite things to do is to try to push cards that I feel like were made for the limited environment into Commander.
Yeah,
and this
exactly.
is serving that absolutely. And yeah, just 3 mana, nice and cheap, and like, well, let's not forget that up to 3 creatures. Like a lot of times, that's enough, especially when
Yeah.
they're printing Menace on everything.
Yeah, goodness. Yeah, a lot of creatures. Have you noticed? I feel like almost every commander these days is coming out with a whole bunch of keywords, and I'm just like, do you need all of these? Like, Lightning Armory of 1 has First Dark Trample and Lifelink. Why? I mean, okay, that's a lot though. Just
Right.
feels like they're afraid to like even my own Winter, and you have a Winter deck
Yeah.
too. I'm kind of like, why does he have Death Touch? I don't know that he needed all of these words on him, but they like to give a lot of keywords out. So I just these and the like Bloodthirsty Blade type of effects, or I think Day of the Moon is another one. When I was playing Go, these were the types of things that just made me feel like I could breathe for a moment, which I really appreciated, because especially when you are playing a Go deck, or if you're playing a control deck, or like a Valgavoth list, people are annoyed at you because you keep on messing with their life total on their own turn. So then immediately they're in that moment and want to kind of get back at you. So having these small ways to make sure that, no, you can't get back at me right away, actually, just ends up going a lot farther than it looks, in my experience.
Yeah, definitely. Great pick.
Thank you.
Let's see what I want to talk about. All right, you know, I'm going to talk about something that I had a lot of experience from a very specific deck. So it might be divisive to put like a one-off of the initiative in your deck, but I want
Okay.
to talk about Trailblazer's Torch. So 4 mana equipment equips for 1. When it enters the battlefield, you take the initiative. Whenever equipped creature becomes blocked, it deals 2 damage to each creature blocking it. So I was running this. I had a Yarok the Desecrated Dungeons deck.
Okay. Sure.
This was one of my favorite things to see, because if you have a commander that has Death Touch, this is basically unblockable. Nobody is going to be there letting you wipe their entire board by doing Death Touch damage to everything. Like, that's just, they're going to be like, yeah, no, come on through. I will take that commander damage unless it's going to kill me. And if you're looking to get the equipment or the initiative and your commander has Death Touch, this is pretty great. And then also keep in mind that this is coming from the creature. So like this would be if you have a commander they want to block, and say you have like lifelink, you could just generate a ton of life off of this.
Yeah, you are right that it's very divisive to put an initiative card as a one-off. That was something that I do actually personally knock against the Baldur's Gate precons, which were fantastic precons. I think the Party Time deck was excellent. Captain Nagathrod was really excellent. Like, all of those were great, but they each had a one-off original. You take the initiative card in there, which I'm just like, in my opinion, if you're gonna do something, go full force on it. You know, what's that? Is it a Ron Swanson quote where he's just like, don't half-ass 2 things, whole-ass 1 thing? That's a little bit my feeling. So yeah, if you're gonna do initiative, in my meta, you know, Lenny, you and I have talked plenty about like my whole family plays. You said that you have a blue-white flying deck based off of a little bit of inspiration from my mom's blue-white flying deck, which is
I do.
so freaking sweet. My stepdad also has a Rilsa Rael full initiative deck, and
Lord.
slaps. It cost us maybe $28 to put together, and it's bug nutty. It is bonkers how powerful that deck actually can be, and it is little stuff like this that does actually kind of grease those wheels there. to make sure that you get the combat damage in when you want to, and it also being not just a creature that can give you the initiative, which opens up a couple of other windows, opens up a couple of other doors for ways that you can get that get yourself back into it here. So I've seen this thing show up and just immediately make me go, hell, they're about to move to that last room. No. But I do prefer it in the context of you've gone full force on it, because the initiative can be, as a one-off a little bit, like suddenly everyone else is doing homework and whatever. I think once you play with the initiative several times, you're kind of like, oh, okay, no, I get it. But at the same time, I've taken one-off initiative things out of the Baldur's Gate precons myself. But I can't deny that, hey, here's this equipment that, first of all, is going to find you a land in the first room. And then second of all, is going to do exactly what you said with the death touch situation. All right, cool. Block at your own barrel. All those things. It does all begin to add up. And again, those ways that become a nuisance for your opponents, which is kind of exactly where you want a lot of your cards to land.
Absolutely. And PSA for the people, if you are that person that is willing to put the one-off in there, bring 4 sets of dungeon cards for everybody. And just hand them out if you're in the LGS. Just make it easy for people if you're going to be that guy.
The thing that I got for my stepdad, as I mentioned, he has a Real Surreal Kingpin deck. I printed out a full playmat, which is a map of the dungeon. So then everyone can just get their favorite game piece, and you just move those individually through that. And it's easier for everyone to read. It's right there in the center. And that, I think, makes the whole idea of the initiative a lot more accessible. Because then you actually get to see everybody moving through almost like it's on a game board. When it's scaled up in that way, I think it's a lot more effective as a mechanic and a lot more intuitive. Whereas when everyone has to have their own separate individual pieces, then you're reading 8 bazillion things all at once. It gets kind of a bit of a headache. So like in terms of the playmat, that was a more fun thing. So if you are doing dedicated dungeon stuff, I do recommend trying out something like that in case you have the extra pizzazz, or if you're as much of a nerd as I apparently am. It kind of makes things a little bit more palatable. But if you're not, then yes, do what Lenny said and make sure you bring tokens for everybody. And that also, side note, that goes for you, Ryan. My friend Ryan, who has a Griswold deck and never brings his own plant tokens, even though Griswold gives plant tokens to every player. You should be bringing your own plant tokens, Ryan.
That is unhinged. That is unhinged behavior.
Bring your own tokens, people. Come on, especially if it has stuff to involve other players. Bring them for them. Come on.
Sometimes people just they play Griswold and they expect that they're going to wipe all the tokens, I guess.
I guess. It's a little bit wild to me, but
Yeah. Okay. There's one I really want to talk about on your list. Could I direct you to one card?
Yeah, what's going on? Which one?
I really want to talk about Noble's Purse.
Noble's Purse has been really going up and up and up in my estimation. Like, I liked it when I first saw it, even just in the limited, but I feel like it's really, I continue to underrate it, is the way that I end up feeling about it. Noble's Purse, 2-mana artifact. It enters the battlefield tapped with 3 coin counters on it, and then you can tap it and remove one of the coin counters from Noble's Purse to create a treasure token. This is showing up in 21,000 decks, and since it's a colorless card, it can go in every deck. You're up against a population of 9.2 million decks in the entire database out there, so that's 0.23% of decks are playing it. But just that little bit of being able to make a treasure token every turn, where you can potentially bank mana between turns, or if you just need to make an extra token, there are so many decks out there that will take advantage of a permanent leaving the battlefield, a treasure being sacrificed, giving you another piece of metal, a little tchotchke, I think as Rachel Weeks likes to call them, on the field that you can manipulate too. This will randomly cause an Academy Manufacturer to be really happy, or a Ragos deck to be really happy. Like, all of those little things begin to add up in a way that just continues to impress me. So yeah, Noble's Purse is one that I already know I like, and I still don't think I'm rating it highly enough.
Huge fan of this card, because I have been playing this card since Baldur's Gate has been a set we have access to. As I'm sure you know, I have the Urza's Gumball Machine deck.
Of course. And
this card, every time I see it in my opening hand, I am so happy. It's...
Yeah.
Because, okay, if you're on you could be doing more busted stuff with Urza Lord High Artificer, but it feels pretty dang good to be like, alright, I can make 3 treasures over a few turns. It's gonna be fine. I'm gonna increase the strength of my constructs. I'm not sacrificing my treasures. I'm just tapping them. I'm making Mox Sapphires. And then at the end of all of it, when everybody else would be like, well, okay, I guess I'm done with this artifact, I can still tap it for mana. Oh, I love this thing. Oh.
That's the other thing, is that there is so much extra utility that you maybe don't catch on to right away. As you just mentioned, Urza can tap this also for mana, which is great. I think of the decks that like to give things away. Like if you spend this one for maybe Zedru, or like what's the new the Boros Iroh from the Avatar set. I think he's called Master of Tea or something. Iroh, who spills the tea, he will give your opponent's stuff away as well, and then make you soldiers equal to however many things you've given away, basically. I'm like, oh yeah, once I've spent this, that's a nice thing to not have to worry about, and it will pump up my strategy there. Or it producing little things that you can sacrifice for, say, like a Braids deck, Braids Arisen Nightmare. All right, cool. Here's an artifact token that I can sacrifice without losing something that is truly actually valuable to me. Or when it is spent up, I can just sacrifice this thing, and that will cause a Braids Arisen Nightmare trigger, so that my opponents will be forced into a tough position of letting me draw cards, or else they have to sacrifice an artifact. Or it's making just extra tokens that if you're not even going to spend them, Brutaclad will be really happy that you have all the extra tokens. Or Parry the Pulverizer is the Bant deck who cares about the different types of counters you have. Well, these aren't charge counters, they're coin counters. Like all of these little ways that are just on this one little 2-mana piece of cardboard that really do honestly just add up and impress and apply themselves in a lot more situations than I even expected. Even with me already having a positive attitude towards it, I keep on finding more stuff. So yeah,
I got one more for you, man.
It's making me happy. Oh yeah.
Yeah. How many treasure decks are on Demand Answers?
Is that the instant sacrifice an artifact or discard a card to draw 2?
Yeah.
Yeah. That one's great too.
You made your treasures, you're done with it. All right. Just kick the purse to the curb and draw 2 cards about it.
Right, yeah. Okay, here's my Duretti Scrap Savant deck. And now here's this thing that I've used up. Let me sacrifice it and get a different big artifact out of my graveyard now instead. Here's a free thing for me to sacrifice. I don't have to worry about sacrificing a blocker that I need or whatever. There are, and just the fact that it's putting more artifacts in play for you if you don't end up spending them, that might help out your affinity decks out there. My personal, and this was my favorite application of it when I was playing all of the limited stuff in Battle for Baldur's Gate. The commander that I've drafted the most from that set, bar none, is Minthara Merciless Soul. To the point that I'm like, I should just have an actual Minthara EDH deck already. Like, she's so fantastic. But she cares when, at the beginning of your end step, she gives you experience if something has left your battlefield this turn. Noble's Purse was an immediate way to be like, cool, I spent a mana using a treasure. I am definitely getting that experience at the end of my turn from Minthara, who then will buff up my entire team equal to the amount of experience that I have. And then just over time, she'd be like, cool, I'm giving +4 to all of these 1/1 and 2/2 tokens. And this was the thing that enabled that. Noble's Purse just continues to impress. It's, I don't know, a quarter or 50 cents right now, but I really would grab a couple copies if I was folks out there, and put them into a couple places. If you think it might be good, just give it a chance. I promise it's better than you think. And I'm also saying this as I try and put one of these into my cart too, because I have it in 2 places, and I'm like, I've got 3 other decks that this would be good for. Why am I not playing it? I have a Thalys deck. This is it making a token. Thalys will make me a spirit at the end of the turn. Why am I not playing it there? Like all of those little ways that it helps out. So anyway, I'm just gushing at this point.
No, that's fine. I'm down to gush with you. I love this card. We could just make this the Noble's Purse podcast, vibe check podcast.
Noble's Purse vibe check. I love it. This is the whole point, though, right? This is why I wanted to kiki with you about it, bro. This is. Let's just smile about some stupid cardboard, right? Some stuff that doesn't look like much at first, but the more that we talk about it, the more we're like, hey, yeah, like that's the whole point of Magic. So this is why I was so excited to get to chat with you today.
Well, I'm gonna make you even more excited because I'm about to talk about graveyards.
Okay, ears perk up like a dog. Let's go.
So let's talk about Ghost Lantern. 1 mana. 1 black mana for an equipment, equips for 1. Whenever a creature you control dies, put a +1/+1 counter on equipped creature. And it's got an adventure. Return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. So, big fan of this because, listen, I'm not above a Raise Dead. Like, just getting a creature back to hand, that's useful. But, like, all of those aristocrat-y decks that, like, want to see stuff die, that are sacrificing, spinning that through, why not convert that into 1/1 counters? Like, we love a Tarian Soul Cleaver. I think we got room for a Ghost Lantern.
I really like this for an Elenda deck, where she wants things to die already anyway, so that is what your entire deck is going to be. And whenever she says naturally, whenever a creature dies, I'll get a +1 counter. So this is a way to amplify that up. You've got your Blade of the Bloodchief, you've got your Tarian Soul Cleaver. Why not also this? That's exactly what that deck would want to do. Oh god, you know what else though? Gave Guru of Spores.
Yes.
Let me sacrifice a creature to get a +1 counter on a creature. All right, cool. That's exactly the whole point, right? Like that would be another application. Not that Gave needs the help, I suppose. Like Gave combos with a ham sandwich, so there's probably so many things already. But yeah, there are those decks that are already naturally doing exactly this.
Yeah. What's his name? Endrick Sar. The Master Breeder.
Yeah.
And then my on again, off again Magic Boyfriend, Nadir, Agent of the Duskanel.
Oh, that thing's stupid. Nadier's a really powerful card.
Yes,
it doesn't look like much when you just read it at first. Then you see it in game and you're like, oh.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this is a Lenda, but you could just pair it with whatever you want. Okay.
And because it leaves the battlefield too, not just it dies.
It absolutely is. I have a game famously that I remembered where I kind of got into a little bit of an argument with a Cyclonic Rift player because they were just like, well, it's bounce back to hand. Like, that's it. Like, because I was trying to like pump the counters on them. They're just like, why are you wasting everyone's time? And then finally someone was like, just let him play. And so this thing had like 40 counters on it. And I was like, all right, I'm ready to resolve Cyclonic Rift. And they're like, okay. And I'm like, cool. It left the battlefield. I have 40 things. It's my turn now.
Yeah, when Nadir leaves the battlefield, you create that many elves equal to its power.
Yep.
And classically, it's also, of course, going to do a lot of the aristocrat stuff. So if you've got these extra ways of pumping it up along the way, and then when it finally does blow up and do its pinata thing, as those decks are wont to do, I can see this going a little bit far. I like it amplifying those decks that are already doing exactly this. And as you said, if you're playing those Soul Cleaver or what is it, the Blood Blade, I think I mentioned earlier, like those things can also be a nice way to supplement exactly the strategy that you're already attempting to go for.
Yeah, and I think the thing that can't really be overlooked is that if those things get zoned a lot, this, if you draw it later, is a way that you can cut down on some of that commander tax.
Oh, cool. Sure.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right. I think you got 2 more left?
I've got a few. I could talk about this set all day, bro.
Okay.
let's go to my blue pick here. I'm gonna go to blue. Well, there's 2 that I could talk about for blue. I think the main one that I would want to hit is Candlekeep Inspiration, though.
Yes, tell me all about it.
Continues to deliver 5-mana blue sorcery, showing up in just 12,000 decks, like 0.27% of decks that can play it until end of turn. Creatures you control have base power and toughness X/X, where X is the number of cards you own in exile and in your graveyard that are instant cards, sorcery cards, or have an adventure. Oh, what a win condition. What a fantastic win condition for Spellslinger decks, because those Spellslinger decks often have those types of cards that are like Murmuring Mystic, Elminster, Talrand type of effects that will put, or Hermes, Overseer of Elpis, I think is a new one. Alila, Cunning Conqueror might be another one. Those things that will make a whole bunch of tokens that are kind of tiny. And if you need a blue overrun, here you go. This is that. It costs 50 cents to suddenly make all of your little fairies, all of your little Thopters, all of your little whatevers into something that will actually completely crush your opponents just based off of the number of spells and cantrips and things that you've been playing naturally throughout the entire game. Kind of a sleeper hit. And by hit, I mean, ouch. I mean, it killed me in combat.
Oh, man. So, I big fan of this one, and I actually have plans for it for my husband because I had an Alania deck, and we're taking apart my version to build his cute otters version, and a bunch of copied otters, some instants and sorceries. You're like, yeah, let's just throw this guy in there, and this is going to do some work. Nice. But he's going to have to fight me for it, because once I'm done with Scarlet Witch, I might go back to my beloved gay space wizard Vadric Astral Archmage, where you could shut the cost off of this and then just jump his power and toughness into whatever spells you got around.
Oh, brilliant. I like that.
Yes.
The other one in blue that I was debating about was Modify Memory. I've really gotten tripped up by that card hardcore. It's in about just as many decks, like 0.37% of decks that can play it, like 16,000 of the 4.5 million out there it would be eligible for. Modify Memory is 5 mana in blue, exchange control of 2 target creatures controlled by different players. If you controlled neither creature, you draw 3 cards. Doesn't sound like a lot, but in some ways that ends up being a little bit worse than having your commander destroyed, is if it's given to somebody else. Because your commander is not designed for their deck, and their commander is not designed for your deck either. So you've got this elf player and this like the Spellslinger player who are both like, flip, what do I do with these? And they are like trying to find a way to remove their own commander so that they can play them again, costing them a whole lot of time. And in the meantime, you've drawn 3 cards for disrupting them. I've really seen that one put in a lot of messed up work as well. It almost feels mean. It's not, but it like almost feels like they let me do this. So I've really seen that one mess up a lot of folks as well.
Okay, yeah. I mean, honestly, I can't get past the art on this one. I just, the kobold eating the cake, it's just sending me. I would play it based just on that. But
yeah,
it's also, yeah, you're absolutely right, man. Just like, also, I want to mention, just for like the audience listening, is that Joey doesn't actually have EDH Rec up. He just like instinctively knows all this stuff.
No, I'm looking at page. Goodness, could you imagine?
Yes.
That's oh my goodness, wow. What a burden you've placed on me. That's just how much I've drafted this set, Lenny, is that I just know off the top of my head.
Yeah.
I really do. I like what amazes me about Baldur's Gate is that it is a big enough set that I feel like I'm still discovering more cards from it every time that I draft. Like, it wasn't until I think the 7th time that I drafted it that I discovered some artifacts that was like the Servant of Liuko or whatever, and I think it was like a vehicle. And I was just like, how have I not seen you at all throughout all of my time drafting this set? Like, and looking through the data of the set, I just never encountered it before. So yeah, the set continues to surprise me, and this is another one of those things that within the context of limited, I've seen the way that it can do some damage there, and that still translates into the actual EDH sphere as well, where it's just like, hey, cool, I'm going to modify memory, and your Babala Saga is now their Babala Saga. Good luck getting it back. No one's going to let you have it back. No one wants that, Joseph. So then I have to spend my removal to get my own commander out from under somebody else's control so that then I can recast it. That is so much tempo lost. And meanwhile, the person with the modify memory drew cards. Like, it really sets you back hardcore. Sets you up for a ton of success. Great card.
Yeah, the set kind of makes me think of like Mirage and things like that, where you just like keep going back and you're finding these like insane things. You're like, really? They put that in there?
Yeah.
All right. I want to talk about something that has done a lot of work for me in Best Soul Nourisher, which is Veteran Soldier, which somehow we got this far and we're just talking about a background. What are we doing?
Yeah.
So 1 and a white enchantment background. Commander creatures you own have, whenever this creature attacks a player, if no opponent has more life than that player, for each opponent, create a 1/1 white soldier creature token that's tapped and attacking that player. So, I think I might just really like Elenda the Dusk Rose, and despite not having a deck for her, I should build that. But like, this is a great way to. I mean, it turns all of your creatures into Adeline, Resplendent Cathar, or it turns your commander into that. Like, that is good.
Yeah, so this is one of the reasons why I built that quote commander deck, where all of the cards in my deck have to say the word commander on them. The backgrounds are the reason why I built that deck. And a lot of the white ones end up being the best in that deck because they have fantastic attack triggers. It's like Flaming Fist will give you a double strike, for instance. This one giving you extra tokens is exactly what you want from your tokens decks. You think of like Arabella, who's like, hey, can I deal more damage equal to the number of creatures I have with power 2 or less? Sure, here's 3 more of them when you attack. Go right ahead. You think of Ishin decks that also want attack triggers. All right, here's a fantastic attack trigger to double. I know the Ishin decks can be really crowded. They're lousy for amazing options, but I do feel like this would be a pretty decent one, to be honest. And you mentioned Bess. That's a bunch of 1/1s that are entering, base 1/1s that she'll begin to give you benefits for. Kadira, Call of the Small would be another Selesny one that cares about having 1/1 creatures. I think that the backgrounds in general are really fantastic. In particular, if you are playing a partner deck, you've got to give every single background a look. I promise they are enormously powerful when you have 2 commanders both with that ability. And in this one, giving you some extra bodies, fantastic. That's great.
Oh.
Cool. A Zergo deck is going to go nuts for that. A Caesar deck is going to go nuts for that. These are exactly the types of payoffs and things that you want to have happening. And if you combine these types of effects with, what is it, the new kin binding from Lorwyn, where your creatures get bigger for each creature that enter the battlefield this turn, like all of those things begin to snowball. Like this again, these cards set you up for such fantastic success. So Veteran Soldier, yeah, I also quite enjoy.
Yes. Say less about the kin binding though. Oh my goodness.
I don't want to say less about kin binding. That card's brilliant. That card's really brilliant.
Man, when my husband gets home from work, we're gonna have a talk. Honestly, every time I do this, it's like I'll come back and I'm like, "You need to put all these cards in your deck, babe."
Yeah. Well, and especially if you're combining these with any of those natural pumps, like a lot of the times when you make a bunch of 1/1s, they're not going to stay 1/1s for very long. I mentioned I have that partner deck where I'm playing a lot of backgrounds, and I have both commanders in play, both with these background abilities. So I attack the player with the most life per Veteran Soldier, well, the opponent with the most life per Veteran Soldier to get these things. Both of my commanders trigger for that, so I'm getting 6 creatures in play. And if I also have like an Inspiring Leader in play, where my commanders are conferring the ability to give my creature tokens +2/+2 for each of my creatures, for each of my commanders. Now suddenly I'm not just making a couple of 1/1s, I'm making either 3/3s or 4 or 5/5s that are already attacking. Like, these things add up. They're really great.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, when I played Bess, I stack that so that those see her buff. It's like, it's criminal. It feels like cheating.
It does a little bit.
Yeah. I'll tell you real quick. I did a Pride brew where, you can make 2 commanders and put them together. And I decided that Vihan Goldwaker and Osgir the Reconstructor should totally be a gay bear couple.
That's one of the youest sentences I've ever heard. I'm like, I know Lenny. I'm pretty sure I know exactly what he leaned towards here.
And we scraped the backgrounds, and let me tell you, we won off the back of Inspiring Leader, turning my treasures into 7/7 assassins.
Fantastic. Oh, that's very, very good. I also did that same thing for Pride. It was on Spellslayer's episode, actually. They invited me on for that. I'm not sure if you saw that. Oh, Lenny, wait. You said, ooh, like you hadn't seen it.
I haven't seen it.
Not seen it?
I haven't seen it.
In that case, I might not spoil the surprise here, but I think you in particular will really, really love the partner pairing that I chose. It also feels like a very you combination. So folks, check out Spellslayers, the Pride edition, if you want to see that. I think that Lenny's going to laugh his face off as soon as he does see it.
All right, we're putting it into my browser right now. But we got podcasts to do, so I can't watch a YouTube video.
Yeah. All right.
You are.
Shall I move to one of mine?
Yeah.
All right, we were just talking about white, but I don't think I've mentioned a black card yet, and I need to mention at least one black card. Well, I play a lot of black. I love playing mono black.
Also, speaking of very me things, this is something that I probably would do with your pairing that you mentioned, and definitely the Pride pairing I did. I'm just guessing at the card.
This artwork, the artwork that's coming up on Asterion's Thirst?
Yes.
That gay sigh. Listen to us two queers just talking about this thirsty card. This is a 4-mana instant, a 4-mana black instant that says exile target creature and then put X +1 counters on a commander creature you control, where X is the power of the creature exiled this way. It's showing up in 42,000 decks, which is the most of any of the cards that I mentioned so far, but it is still under 1% of the decks that are eligible to play it out there. Asterion's Thirst looks clunky as removal. Believe me, I understand. 4 mana to do a pinpoint removal. I'm not usually here for that. I agree with you. That also doesn't sound great. Here's the context. Something with trample. If you have a thing with trample that is attacking, in my case, have used Tana, the Bloodsower, because this is a card that I have in that commander deck. You're attacking something with trample, they chump block. Or, excuse me, not even chump block. They usually will put a pretty decent blocker in front of a card like that. Tana herself being a natural 2/2. But, they block with whatever. Then you cast this Asterion's Thirst, exile the creature that they are blocking with, and put all of those counters onto your tramply commander. Now, because of trample, all of that damage continues to go through, because their blocker, quote unquote, isn't there, 0 toughness, you trample all the damage through to them, and you get all that damage through. Asterion's Thirst is brilliant in a deck where you have a trampling commander, but also just kind of fantastic in general. A lot of people play really huge creatures. The last time that I cast an Asterion's Thirst, it was on somebody's Consuming Aberration, which was easily 50 power. There are a lot of big targets out there that just get grossly huge, and to make your commander enormous as a recompense for that, truly bug nutty, truly brilliant. I think that Astarion's Thirst looks like a lot, 4 mana, that's so much, but also consider the combat trickery that you're able to do, consider the theft that you're able to get away with of converting someone else's power into your power. If your commander has lifelink even, I would really highly suggest it for that. I think we did a challenge to stats on this one recently for the Silverquill the Disputant, which has flying and vigilance. So then you could casualty this one with its ability to get rid of 2 things and make your flying vigilant commander go really, really strong. I think killing an Ink Duelist would make this a 2 mana card instead of a 4 mana card. There's all those small ways that this adds up and up and up, and I truly think it's fantastic.
Yeah, no notes. I mean, I agree with everything. I've been thinking about this one for my husband's Marchesa the Black Rose deck, because getting the counters on my Chesa is like always like a huge concern.
Mm-hmm. Well, and think of all of the creatures that care about how big their own power is. Evereth, Viceroy of Plunder, when she dies, you can pay mana to have her deal damage to each opponent equal to her power. All right, cool. Let's get rid of a 6/6, and here's 6 more counters on her. Or you're playing a deck that cares about +1 counters in the first place. I had this in my Genova deck, which didn't lose a single game, and it was so good I had to take her apart. It was stupid. Genova gives creatures a +1 counter buff equal to her own power and turns them into mutants. So, all right, fantastic. I would exile one of their creatures, put 5, 6, 7, a lot of counters onto one of my own, onto Genova, who would then also transfer that much power to another creature that I control as well. Again, brilliant. And because I was playing a green deck, it wasn't just 5 counters. A Branching Evolution would mean that it was 10 counters, or an Earth Crystal would mean that it was 10 counters. Like, all of that began to add up and up and up. Rarely in Magic is a +1 counter just a +1 counter, you know? I think I have a buddy who has a Skullbriar deck as well, and he's considering this for that, because Skullbriar will keep all of its counters, even if it goes away into the command zone. And this is a nice way to get a whole big bunch of them that he'll keep forever and ever. So, yeah, I totally understand why a 4 mana removal spell doesn't look like it's the one. But when you see it, I promise it's very good. If Firelord Azula decks ever want to consider this one, where she's copying them in combat, I think they'd be pretty happy too, you know? There are so many small ways that this becomes a lot more than the sum of its parts.
Yeah, love it. And also, like, something that is as queer as the source material, so that part too.
we kind of have to hype up this card, don't we? Just the art alone makes us, like, immediately pay attention. So...
All right, let's say let's do one more each.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Okay. Oh geez, I'm up next and I was not prepared. Okay. I got one. Okay, I got one that I have been enjoying quite well. Yeah, no, you know what? Fine, we're gonna send it. I have been enjoying the heck out of Robe of the Archmagi. So this is a 3 mana equipment, equips for 4, equip Shaman, Warlock, or Wizard 1. I've been using it in my Linvala Shield of Seagate deck because she happens to be an Angel Wizard. And
nice, yeah.
Yeah, and sure, yeah, no, I'll equip for real cheap and just draw 3 cards about it. Like, that's perfectly fine. But... also, like, a lot of times when you're looking at equipment decks, like, if you've got a blue inclusive equipment deck, this is a way to draw a ton of cards, and you're cheating the costs anyway, usually, like with your Brass Squire or what have you. So, like, I'd say give this one a look if you've got a creature that's big, gets in, and you want to draw a lot of cards about it.
Yeah, the 3 mana blue equipment, whenever the equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, you draw that many cards, equips for 4 naturally, or equip Shaman, Warlock, or Wizard for just 1 mana. Yeah, I've seen this one draw an upsetting number of cards, maybe the way that I ought to say it. I think I saw it in an Alila Artful Provocateur deck because it was a Warlock, and naturally an evasive one with Death Touch at that, if I'm remembering Alila correctly. I might not be. Just like, all right, cool, I'm gonna get in here and get a couple of extra cards, and even a couple of extra cards can really begin to add up. But there are a handful of those creatures, those Spellslinger type of decks that are built to be a lot more combat forward than perhaps they initially looked. Those Balmor, those what is it? Oh, it's from OTJ. There's the backup commander of the Stella Lee deck.
Oh my gosh,
Ernest,
yes, the thingy that makes the tokens.
Ernest, it was a flyer that cost less for each of the mana values in your graveyard, and okay, fantastic. It's a flyer, and I'm gonna need a whole lot of cards. That's another great way to go in there. There are a lot of creatures that are just like secretly a wizard, secretly a warlock. You might not have looked twice at it to begin with, but actually it can begin to really add up. So yeah, I've seen Robo the Archmagi put in a really good chunk of work before too.
Awesome. All right. Oh, I can't wait. What is your last one?
I wanted to make sure that I hit one from each color while I was here. So I started with green, I did red, we talked about an artifact. I just got some blue and some black, but we'll end with white here. This is a card that has messed me up a lot in limited, but I also think it's pretty slept on for regular commander application as well. Githzerai Monk is a 4-mana 3/2 white creature, a Gith monk with flash and flying, and when it enters the battlefield, it taps all creatures that you don't control. 12,000 decks according to the page here. It's showing up in 0.28% of decks that can play it. The time that I've most recently seen this is again in a Hilda the Icy Crown deck, which cares about when your opponent's creatures become tapped in ways that aren't just combat. I think if there's anything that's holding Githzerai Monk back, it is the fact that it is not on type for a lot of the decks that usually tend to care about control or things like that. This is a Gith Monk. That's not going to fit very easily into a Humans deck or into a Spirits deck. But that ETB ability, with Flash, with Flying, to ETB tap all creatures that aren't yours, before someone moves to combat, you're like, nah. you know, actually, no, we're just going to tap all of those. No combat's going to happen. Or right before it becomes your turn, you're like, hey, on your end step, let's tap down everything that could feasibly block me for my next turn. And especially if you're playing any type of blink deck, if you have an at-will blink effect, Eldrazi Displacer-esque, that will allow you to just at a moment's notice immediately flicker this, bring it right back into play, and tap stuff again. That can really, really lock down a board as well. So yeah, the Hilda of the Icy Crown decks. The only creature type deck that I think would share a type that cares about this would probably be, is it the Archimandrite? Or maybe I'm thinking of something else from the Khans of Tarkir. There might be something there that cares about Monk as a creature type, but I don't think that there are a whole lot. But yeah, I would say a Blink deck is going to be pretty effective for this. A Control deck is especially going to be happy. I would even wager like the Jolly Balloon Man is just going to like, hey, let's make a copy of this, and then my combat is going to be free and clear. Like even small ways like that, I think will really be able to show you how this card can actually really mess up your opponent's day. It reminds me a lot of one of my favorite charms, which is Naya Charm, where you can just instant speed tap other people's stuff, and that opens up a lot of doors for combat for you, and that can matter a whole lot, especially in those later stages of the game.
I love me some Naya Charm. You know who I was thinking was really good with this is Afara, God of the Polis, the
nice,
god from Theros.
Yeah.
Just like you care about creatures coming in on upkeeps, and start by tapping them down before your turn starts, and then draw a card about it. Like I'm a big fan of the Githzerai Monk. Though I have not found a place for it in any of my decks, it's been sitting like in like that little box of cards that I keep for things that I should put in something. And
it's got classic like 102nd, 103rd card syndrome to it for sure.
And that's what we're here about anyway.
Yeah. It's one of those things that, again, you look at it, doesn't seem like much, but like I mentioned, control decks will be happy about it. I think aggro decks still will too. Tapping down opponents' blockers is a fantastic tempo hit, just to make sure that your combat is going to be free and clear, and especially if it means that you interrupt their combat. If they thought they were going to be setting up for something great, and you're just like, actually, no, we're going to skip your combat, and by the way, I will be hitting you next turn. Or if you're using this on their turn, it taps every creature that isn't yours, but then the next player can go and they can untap, and then it's just like, hey, that person's completely open. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge.
Yeah.
The political applications of some of these cards is very impressive. And that's, again, one of the other things that really makes this set so much fun to keep drafting and drafting over and over again, is that a lot of these cards are wisely designed to open up some of those doors, but not to be too overbearing about their applications, where this is the only way that you can play them. They give you a whole lot of freedom. So that's why the draft set for me is extremely enjoyable, and why why I think that they're a little bit slept on in terms of their commander applications as well.
Yeah, definitely. Also, Flyers win games.
Flyers win games. They really can. Yeah. I've been trying to pitch my mom on putting this in her Flyers deck, but because it both has flash and flying, her Errant and Giada deck would be really happy to cast this off the top of the deck, but she's extremely happy with her current output. I have to say, Lenny, you did just let me go off about a whole bunch of cards, but I don't think I can actually leave this episode without mentioning one more. Is that okay?
Yeah, you are allowed to. We're already way past the usual allotted time we're supposed to have. So
Oh
we're
no,
gonna...
I'm so sorry. Am I
No,
yapping too
no,
much?
no. You don't you dare apologize. This just means we're probably turning into another 4-hour episode because we're a podcast within a podcast.
I'm really sorry about that, editor. I don't mean
I
to.
do not want you to apologize. I get to spend more time hanging out with you, and I really like that. So
The one that of all of the cards that I wrote down that people I think finally are starting to realize is that girl is Inspired Tinkering, and I couldn't leave without mentioning Inspired Tinkering.
I knew
That's
she
the
was.
Yeah, she is that girl. I know you were. This is the 5-mana red sorcery. Exiles the top 3 cards of your library until the end of your next turn. You may play those cards, so it impulse draws 3 cards. That doesn't sound great for 5 mana, right? Well, it also creates you 3 treasure tokens. So you can immediately use those if you need to, so just immediately refund the mana right there, so it's like you only spent 2 mana on this, or if you're playing any of the stuff that we mentioned about how good Noble's Purse is, those treasure tokens can add up in a bunch of other ways like we described earlier, or if you're playing a Prosper Tomebound deck, you're already doing a bunch of stuff with treasures in that first place. If you're reducing the costs on any of your spells, like with a Rowan deck or your Vadric deck, then this will actually net you more mana. I've never seen an Inspired Tinkering that I thought wasn't good, so I had to mention that last one as well. But that one has actually achieved over 1% inclusion status, and it is showing up in over 50,000 decks. So people are at least starting to catch on that Inspired Tinkering really is that girl.
Oh my god. Let me tell you, Joey, that game I was talking to you earlier about with that Scarlet Witch deck I made, I won that game off the back of Inspired Tinkering.
Yeah.
We did a Storm King's Thunder at 5, also great card from Baldur's Gate, and we did 5 Inspired Tinkerings, and I spent 4 red mana to make that happen.
Oh no.
Yeah.
That's pretty nice. I think a lot of people are familiar with like the big score and the unexpected windfall already.
Oh yeah.
And those are instants, I'll grant you that those are instants, but still, folks who are playing those Spellslinger type of decks, if you like what those cards do for you, I promise Inspired Tinkering will also perform the same way for you. I couldn't leave a Baldur's Gate episode without mentioning that one because I've been a champion of that one for years, and it's finally starting to actually creep up a little bit in the numbers, which is making me pretty happy.
Good for her. She deserves
Good for her.
Yes.
Yeah. See, like I'm so sorry to have gone longer than you meant us to. I didn't realize.
No.
But that is just how effusive I can be about this set. Like, I again totally understand why Baldur's Gate can have a bit of a sour taste in some people's mouths. There were some circumstances around its release that were not the best, and the initiative mechanic is divisive. I completely understand that. At the same time, if you give yourself the chance to look through the set really properly, if you actually sift for those gems, you absolutely will find them. I feel like I could talk about at least 5 more, but that would take another hour, so I'm not going to do that to you, Lenny, or to your editor.
I mean, that just means I get to hang out with you more, which is cool by me. But we probably should let the people go. We should probably turn back the podcast to Cole and Quinn.
There you go.
But we got our housekeeping to do, so I guess first off, I am required to leave some wisdom, and you mentioned you wanted to get on that too. So
yeah, I'll try.
Yeah, let's see what you got.
This is less of a life hack than just a kind of philosophy that I find to be pretty helpful, and that is this philosophy that 2 is 1 and 1 is none. I'm not sure if you've heard that phrase before.
Mm-mm.
The easy way that is kind of like that I would use to describe it is like, say, a phone charger. If you have one phone charger, you have one phone charger, sure. But then if it goes kaput, if it stops working, then you have no phone chargers. Whereas if you have 2 phone chargers, you are always protected from one of those things going on the fritz. That guides me in a lot of very subtle ways. I'm not saying double up literally everything that you have in your house, but in terms of preparation, in terms of feeling like actually good about all of your stuff, in terms of files, I do a lot of editing myself, and there's a certain rigor of saving extra files and saving more often than I need and saving extra copies of things, which probably is a little bit obnoxious, but then if stuff crashes or gets corrupted, I know I have that backup. That comes in so much handy, and it saves me hours of reconstruction work. So that 2 is 1 and 1 is none is a great philosophy for preparing yourself against those potential eventualities where things could go really horribly wrong, and making sure that even if things do, which, we don't want them to, but even if things do, you still have those doors open, those ways out that you can still continue to move forward in a way that doesn't completely disrupt you. So that's been something that I enjoy a lot, and that is why I don't just have one phone charger in the house.
I love that. That's really good. And in fact, that's so good. What I'm going to say is I'm going to skip the wisdom I was going to give and say that you should listen to what Joey just said. Maybe wind it back and listen to that again, because that's good advice.
Oh, I'm really glad. Oh, I'm glad you like it. Maybe for some folks they'd be a bit like, "Hey, Joey, that's a bit extra. That's a bit much. Maybe your anxiety is speaking a little bit too loud there, don't you think?" But I hope that it serves some folks usefully out there.
Listen, my husband has been on this kick of buy it twice or buy it nice or buy it twice, and I was a Boy Scout, and the motto is be prepared. So.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's like, if you distill it down into its essence, is be prepared.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and that's good. All right. Well, I want to thank you so much for your time. This was a blast.
Dude, thank you. It's always anytime that you offer me to talk about Magic cards, I'm always going to be interested. Anytime that you offer me a chance to hang out with Lenny, I'm always going to be interested. You let me do both? You let me do both those things.
Both?
This is a real treat, Lenny. I love hanging out with you, man.
Well, thank you. You are allowed to come back. So
thank you. I'm so glad. I'm so relieved to hear that I have that permission.
Well, I mean, listen, this is like all relatively new to me, but then it just recently came about that I had a guest on twice already. And I'm like, you know what? Okay, then yeah, people can just come back then. And I'll figure it out, you know?
Yeah. Let's see what other sets are out there with fantastic hidden gems. There's a whole lot of them. That's for damn sure.
Hell yeah. Why don't you tell the folks once again where they can find you?
Yeah, my personal socials are going to be JM Schultz, or Joseph M. Schultz is probably the more accurate one in a lot of places. If you want to see me with my shirt off, Instagram is a place where I occasionally do that. I don't know. Sometimes it's fun. Sometimes it's fun. I don't know. But also the YouTube content that you're going to see is going to be all on the EDH Rec YouTube channel, where, again, it's about finding, here's all the data, but what does it mean? What is this actually telling us about the way that people play the game, and how can we use the ways that we play this game to improve our actual lives? So that's the EDH Rec YouTube channel. We've got some episodes going out there where we're trying to give context to more of the data that's out there, maybe find more of these hidden gems on the regular as well. We like challenging those stats too. But then my personal socials will be either JM Schultz or Joseph M. Schultz out there if you want to follow me for my sweet and sassy takes, I suppose.
Well, thank you once again, and yeah, everybody out there, we're gonna turn it on over to Quinn and Cole again, and we'll see you next time.
Cheers, y'all.
And that was Joey Schultz. Thanks for coming through. Good advice in general, of just always being prepared by having 2 charge cables, and, you know, in the case that I learned in college about backing up your files in some way, shape, or form, flash drive, external drive, cloud saves, like whatever. If you have a chance to save and preserve something, do whatever the fuck you can to do it, because
Yeah, I heard that adage from IT mages quite a lot in the past. The fucking 2 is 1 and 1 is none. Like, you gotta frequent and redundant backups.
Yeah, I once upon a time I had a external drive for all of my like old school projects for college, and the fucking thing bricked. I don't know what it was. And in retrospect, thankfully, there was nothing actually really important on there. I can let like all those old project files go because I lost the school license to use the animation programs and shit. And I'm like, you know what? I actually don't need that baggage. But now moving forward, you know, I got another external drive and I got a bunch of flash drives and stuff. You know, Brandon's allowed us to, or maybe, you know, I've kind of piggybacked. I have our episodes backed up via lexicon stuff. So if the episodes do disappear for whatever reason, I still have access to it one way or another.
Swag.
And that's why you buy 2 copies of the Magic card, just in case. Let's go on to Brews Off the Shelf.
Oh, shit. RIP your wallet for following that shit.
Hey,
Anyway,
TY wants 2 copies of the One Ring. Am I right? Am I right? Give me your 1 copy.
Well, that's because you just buy 2 bundles.
No, shut up. Anyway, that doesn't exist and that's not real. So
It used to. There was like a 2-week period where you could, and now you can't. You extremely cannot.
no, and I should have done it, but alas, here we are. So, you have a couple decks, and I have 4 decks. So how about you? I think one of them, we obviously want to talk about, but the other 3 are big question marks. How about you pick one of these here that is not Garna, and we'll talk about those 2.
Have you talked about the Gideon and Friends typo deck? Was that last week with Jerry?
I mentioned, yeah, it's the same deck. I mentioned it last week, and I didn't have it put together at the time. But I'm also, that's one I'm actually probably going to scrap for Arna Canarud.
Okay. If that one's getting scrapped, then let's talk about Hetslop.
Okay, let's talk about Hetslop. So I've had Ashling. Sorry, I'm like trying to get caught up here. Ashling Rekindled that flips into Ashling Rhinebound. I've had that deck out probably around, like, I think after
let's just take a look at Moxfield here that says deck was created January 24th, 2026.
Okay. So yeah, it was pretty sure it was after the set was released. Because I opened this Ashling in my pre-release kit. So
nice.
The other day I was like, okay, it's time to bust it out. We were playing with Light, and Light's like, when the fuck did you have an Ashling deck? And I'm like, a while. When have you talked about it? I'm like, this girl ain't listening to our podcast. I love saying that shit to people right now when they're like,
red-handed.
I'm like, and he's like, I don't remember you guys talking about that. I'm like, then you don't listen to our podcast enough, I guess.
Fine, boom.
So anyway, no. Ashling is my attempt, and you look at it in closer inspection. It is several things at once. The quote unquote Hetslop thing is the joke because I have Clive and Jill in the deck. The icons, you got to transform them, and they're also, in love. But it was sort of,
it's crowd controlled girlfriend and DPS boyfriend.
Exactly. So the original thesis, of course, was like, okay, so those 2 are like the quote unquote like foundation, but like, what do you add to it? So, I got Guardian Force of Freed and Summon Shiva as like, okay, so there's a pair. And then I'm like, how many pairs can I conceivably throw in here that are sort of like the counterparts to one another, where I'm not overshadowing like other features that I need in the deck, like removal and card draw and everything. So Anger and Wonder are in here, Frost Titan and Inferno Titan are in here, and that's it. Everything else has sort of been like, get enough Final Fantasy summons in here that it feels practical. Get some minor like elemental stuff in here. Just anything that helps kickstart me off of Ashling Rhinebound's extra mana into the 4, 5, 6 mana spell. And there's the obvious issue of, if I rely on Ashling too much, people are just going to nip her in the bud and the deck just falls apart. So I recently retooled it a bit, trying to find some stuff where I'm like, I still need some 2-drops that add mana in some way to help continue whatever the hell the deck is supposed to do. Add in counters, matters / flicker effects to help reset any of the summons, as I was like doing with the Sephiroth deck. Add in some weird like non-Final Fantasy cards that are kind of cheeky, like Donna Noble and Sawhorn Nemesis, and I don't know, 3 Fiendish duos.
That was some fucking bullshit.
It felt
bro casts a Fiendish duo, hits the fucking Cursed Mirror Fiendish duo, has Go-Go Mysterious Mime become a Fiendish duo, and then turns sideways like, hey Quinn, take 32.
No,
hey,
that
Light,
was Light.
Take a bunch that's like
I was attacking Light,
it ended
and then
up being 8, right?
And then
I was
Benoit,
looking at 16. Light
yeah.
was looking at 32.
Yeah. That is the potential of the deck, as it turns out, that I didn't exactly know that is what you could do. But Yeah.
After casting like a removal spell every turn before that.
Yeah, I was on some bullshit. I was doing some summon Kujata stuff, and then
Bro was a fucking menace. I had a sword and a ramp spell that I had cast, and you were like, all right, I'm gonna blow this up and I'm gonna blow that up.
I was clearly pointing in the wrong direction, because after I was dealt with, everything about that game fell apart, and there was nothing I could do when I was dismantled. They're like, all right, Cole, we've had enough of your bullshit. We're going to take out all of your fiendish duos. And I'm like, no. And then they're like, you will never have a creature ever again. And I'm like, no.
We are beating your ass. We are killing you with hammers for thine crimes.
Yeah. So,
also, you got to get an impulsivity in this deck to match your subterfuge.
I think I did have impulsivity in here, but I do got to go look back into that for counterpart stuff. So yeah, so after that game, I was like, it's time to look back at this a little bit and see if there's anything I could tweak or add. The Emperor of Palamecia actually still hits, like, I think about...
Yeah, that guy rules.
Still hits about 30% of the roster. I'd recently added Love on the Battlefield, where 2 creatures gain first strike, and then draw a card if you attack with 2 of them, and then if they deal combat damage, put a +1 counter on them.
Oh, I played that in the Heroes Precon. The card fucking slaps and is a perfect fit for your Hetslop deck.
Exactly. What else did I do? I added Voracious Bibliophile since I finally got a copy of that, and we know Light's real...
I was just going to say, we know Light's popping off and the mentions about this.
This trigger, is there enough targets for this to trigger? I mean, if it targets one thing, you're already drawing a card, and that's fine. Part of the other shtick of the deck is having multiple targets for certain effects, whether it's bounce, as in all of its bounce, Brawl's Expertise, Mystic Confluence, This Town Ain't Big Enough. I'm cringing and crying over all the creatures that have to enter and trigger, which means it is not affected. Voracious Bibliophile doesn't affect it, but you know what? I think there's still enough like cards that I think weave with that effect well enough. And I don't know. I'm also ramping from Ashling into Voracious Bibliophile by turn 3, so I'd say that's pretty fine.
I dare say we can figure out something to do with it.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't work out, you can just put like Bono Dracosaur in there or something.
That is an idea. So yeah, I don't know. This deck's always sort of like in the back of my brain is like, what can I use to kickstart everything? But in terms of some of the shit that I was pulling off that game anyway, there is no end to the bullshit that I can do with the current iteration to the deck. So
truly, the horrors never ceased until we fucking all 3 of us were on your ass about it.
We're like, we got to kill this fucking Hydra and then burn its carcass. And I'm like, I'm still not dead. And then someone was like, nope, you are. And then I truly fucking died. But yeah, I like what I'm up to with this deck. It's been pretty fun.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. Game recognized game.
All right. Speaking of Izzet decks, what do you got here?
I have a deck that I was jelly of and then decided to get one for myself.
Mm-hmm.
Here's Tony Stark, the Invincible Iron Man, and it's bracket 3 blue red artifacts.
So you've been getting reps in on MTGO with this guy?
Yes, absolutely. I was jelly of Light's Iron Man deck in particular, but her build wasn't fully in line with like who I am as a gamer or what I have in my MTGO collection, which is like also a huge consideration. So we needed to just like do that ourselves. This is where we Soul Calibur announce our voice. The Almighty Ones have granted you a sword to cut your own path. And then just like off rip, I'm like, this guy's not playing fair Magic, so we're not gonna have any. Maybe this is bracket 2. Like, nah.
No.
We're just gonna make sure that this is straight bracket 3 from the get go.
Unfortunately, he's got a little bit too much gas on that backside.
Yeah, smoke too loud. So
Tony Stark's like, have you seen me? Do I look like bracket 2 material?
You're so right, Tony. The fucking... I don't know what this treatment is, but the like bling printings in foil on MTGO were fucking pennies. Like fractions of a cent. So I got a bunch of them. And we have the like bling printing for this one here. The goal of the deck. We want to ensure that we have a hand that supports Tony on turn 2, a 3-drop rock on turn 3, and then we activate Tony and put a like robot into our hand or some shit. Just like something to do fucked up on turn 4 that like sets up whatever we're up to next turn or is independently powerful. And then on turn 5, we like power up with Tony Stark. By which I mean hit the transform button, which is it's basically the same as power up. But anyway, we push the button, we turn the guy over, and at the beginning of combat, we put something fucked up into play, like a big knife or, I don't know. We just needed to make sure that it was like worthy of the threat profile that they are levying at this guy, because he is, quite strong.
Yeah, no, just from the get-go of, okay, like, you have to remember, he is a 6, depending on how you transform Tony into it, or you just hardcast him. We are talking about a 6-mana 5/5 with flying and haste, so you better fucking hope that the rest of those abilities or keywords on that body is doing the work, and in this case, yeah, I would say so.
Mm-hmm. We wanted to make sure that a lot of these were equipment, because just like he puts any artifact into play, but he auto-equips equipment, and I feel like you're leaving money on the table if you're not getting, like, taking advantage of the auto-equip. And it's not just like my sensibilities as a gamer. I just also think that you're leaving money on the table. So we made sure that we had a lot of really good knives. As far as ramp, though, before we get to the knives, I have 9 actual 3-drop ramp spells, and then we got Vivi.
And then you got Vivi.
He's not actually a 3-drop ramp spell. We have to like put mana in before he starts ramping, but he's basically that, and he's a strong enough Magic the Gathering card that he fits. We can talk about the rest of those and that. Okay, so that's a different section. Anyway, hey, knives. We just kind of scrolled through my MTGO library for equipment that was like of high enough mana values or with expensive enough equip abilities that it felt worthwhile to use this trigger on. So I'm on bullshit like Meteor Sword and Argentum Armor and A-tier and Pre-Win. Genji Glove and Blackblade Reforged all feel good there. The thing that doesn't feel as good but is still a very important card to the deck is Hexblade Wallbreaker.
Yep, because you need a way to end the fucking game.
Yeah, because you put this into play and then it's attached to Tony, but you still have to resolve the 4 Mirrodin trigger, which unequips it from Tony and puts it on the rebel token that you make. There's no way to like cheat that and ensure that it stays equipped to Tony, unfortunately. We also put some like littler knives, and this is where the bulk of our protection comes from. I'm on like Mithril Coat and Bilbo's Ring and Champion's Helm and Conqueror's Flail. Mm-hmm. So you gotta shut the fuck up during my turn. My guy's indestructible. My guy's hexproof. You can't block my guy.
Do not perceive him. Don't look at him.
Yeah.
He's learning from his mistakes.
I think Malthound has this joke about like indestructible Justin and is like 27/27 with every fucking keyword or whatever. Like that's me right here.
Yeah, just here's my large. Do not pass go. Do not collect 200.
Yeah. I didn't realize this about Bilbo's Ring, but it also draws you a card and you lose life if you attack alone, and that's just like
that's
for whatever.
Exactly what you're looking to do.
Yeah. It's got kind of an expensive equipability, but Tony doesn't give a fuck. So we're totally okay with that in here. And if you can similarly cheat that equip cost, I definitely think that that's a card worth consideration. It's a lot stronger than I'd initially given it credit for. So some other big artifact bangers, some stuff that we're on is, hey, Walls of Ba Sing Se. We opened one of those in Avatar Draft and was like, yeah, totally, dude. If I'm not paying for it, sure. Slam that into play.
Holy shit. How many ticks is that?
I do not know.
Only a little concerning. But anyway.
I didn't spend any money on it.
I know. You don't have to worry about it. However, someone else there's like, it should have been me.
No, I think that came around pretty late. People were passing that.
Crazy.
Other stuff that we've got, Meteor Golem, a classic. I'm also on Krang, Utrom Warlord, who just like, once I've got my big robots into play, this big fucking guy gives them the best keywords of flying, trample, indestructible, and haste. So I'm just like, let's fucking go.
What a fuck ass card.
Yeah. We also have an an Extinguisher battleship. This is one of my wraths for the deck. It's gonna come down and blow something up, and then wrath the board for 4 damage, which like Tony lives through easy, and a lot of my other big robots do. So I'm not super concerned about losing my board to that coming down for free. We have an Eternity Elevator for ramping into more of my bullshit, and then I'm on a Cosmic Cube and a Chamil because I like free spells in certain contexts, and these always serve that up satisfactorily. I got a sideboard full of bullshit that I want to think about playing.
Let's take a scroll down and looky here. Wait a minute. Do I spy stolen uniform?
Yes, I thought about you when we put that in here. I was just like, I need to fucking cheat some of these equip costs, because if I get blown out and have to recast Tony, I'm not spending another 6 equipping Argentum armor. I'm gonna stolen uniform.
It's brutal. It is brutal. But yeah, also looking at sort of the rest of your, you got the Blight Steel and the Dark Steel, you got Cauldron Complete, you got fucking Inkwell Leviathan, the Spear Leonidas, which probably...
I think that there's a version of this deck that's on like mostly artifact creatures, and you're just beating people down with your robots instead of singularly with Tony. And that's the one where you're like Gear Hulks and your Blight Steel and your Dark Steel and your Inkwells are coming in.
That is a future I'm looking to see. But still, even in this case, like, obviously it's like, all right, feel it out, you know, get a few more reps in, see which equipment is pulling its weight or which artifacts are doing the work or whatever, and then swap out for, I don't know, a stolen uniform and take someone else's Buster Sword. It's a great feeling.
Yeah, I bet. So it's bracket 3 bro section. Putting Genji Glove into play for free and just fucking 20ing someone out of nowhere is the main impetus for playing this up here. Despite it, or not, but like, besides it also just like being a busted artifact deck, like that particular kind of thing where you get free Genji Gloves and you 20 someone. Like, I think if I'm gonna do that to you, you should probably be allowed to play Force of Will.
You're like, if I am absolutely getting away with it, you are allowed to also get away with it.
Yeah, so my Game Changer spread is kind of just Yes Goes Well, but I'm not playing Urza Lord High Artificer or Vivi in bracket 2 without a good fucking reason. So when we knew that this was the like kind of deck that we're going to play in bracket 3, I'm like, oh, okay, we can windmill slam those in here then.
You're like, it's safe. I can, in fact, scare the hose.
Yeah, I'm allowed to play busted fucking Magic cards. It's bracket 3, whatever. I have a thought about construction here, though. I do need to index more protection in here because Iron Man does scare the hose. There was this clear arch enemy situation versus this Tristani deck, and I'm like geared up to commander damage them out, and like we can handle them. Like, it's the one that does the life gain on, I think, toughness of creatures, and they're just like spamming creatures and doing a bunch of green mage bullshit that's paired really well with white mage bullshit, putting them at a life total that's untouchable by conventional means.
Yeah.
Luckily, your fucking Voltron player is here to save the day, except... Tom fucking Bombadil hits the summon Bahamut and blows up my guy.
Tom fucking Bombadil, you're lucky your wife is so hot.
So I recast my guy I'm just like straight up on the Iron Man side too, so I spent money. And then we drop the Krang of the Indestructible into play. We take 2 combats and we put Tristani at 15 commander damage. So I'm like, very clearly I have a goal. I want this guy out of the game, and I'm equipped to make that happen. Tom fucking Bombadil points chapter 2 at Iron Man again.
No.
Luckily,
Tom fucking Bombadil, what are you doing?
he is not locked in. Luckily, though, I am indestructible because we put the fucking Krang of the keywords into play. It's just like, lock in, brother. I am not your problem, and I'm also indestructible. Let me just kill Tristani, and you can answer me after that. I know you have exile removal. We lose to Tristani because I was not allowed to fucking put them in the dirt.
Can't have shit around here.
Yeah. So we need to enforce that mechanically. Other gameplay experiences, I played a game versus a Soul Sisters typo deck, a Jirana Liberator Infect deck, and an Atali 1 on maybe extra combats, but we didn't see enough 99 of their 99 to tell. We didn't find a 3-drop rock early, so we cast our Buster Sword on turn 3, and we start putting that on Tony, and just like, I'm getting in there, I'm casting card advantage spells for free, I'm hitting you for 4 damage.
Yeah, like, what's good? Let's fucking go.
Yeah. We hit Atali once in this mode because they're like set up to cast their dinosaur with haste and potentially rip 4 free spells, which is like, this is scary. So we're gonna make sure that we get some damage on them. They swing and their dinosaur rips like 4 lands, and then they cast a Seize the Day and they rip 2 free spells off of that.
Ugh.
And then they flashback Seize the Day and rip 2 more spells off of that. And they're sending all of these combats at me and my Chandra that I have. So I'm at 12 commander damage. My Chandra gets hit for 6. I'm like, okay, we can't let that happen again. Because now that I know you're on 1 extra combat, the likelihood of you being on even more extra combats just skyrocketed.
Yeah.
And I don't want to see 12 free spells from you if you crit. So I have a double.
I don't need uncontrolled gamer greed in my Magic the Gathering game.
Yeah, I have a fucking double strike knife in my hand, and I know I gotta fucking do it to them. So we get to my turn, we transform to Iron Man, the combat trigger puts the fucking leyline axe into play attached, and so I'm at 9 power double strike, and I'm like, let's fucking go. We get in there, we hit Atali once, we cast Walls of Bossing, say, and then we hit them again, and they're Falcon punched out of the game, and cast something else that like doesn't matter off the Buster Sword, probably card advantage. And sitting there, we pass the turn to Soul Sisters Typal. They think they're fucking set. They wrath the board, and all it does is kill my Walls of Bossing, say. They did not fucking think it through.
They did not read the fucking card.
And then they have to just pass the turn to me, and they're like, oh, okay, I am just going to concede here. You have lethal commander damage, GG.
Fantastic.
And to that I say, thank you, Walls of Bossing, say. I love you, Colorless Avacyn.
There is no war in Bossing, say.
Yeah, we are all gravy here, safe behind these walls.
Damn, hey, take that, Universes Beyond haters.
Stop fucking acknowledging them.
But Quinn, I have to be a bigger hater.
I don't even think about them, dude.
Yeah, I know. You're in your lane, thriving, water's cropped. You know what? Jesus Christ. Wow.
My crops are watered.
Your crops
my skin
are watered.
is moisturized.
My
I'm
God.
flourishing. I'm having a great time playing cards that are fun.
And so should you, listener. All right.
Now tell me about you having fun with Magic the Gathering cards. I know you're capable of it.
Well, you see, I tried having fun, and then I lost on turn 4 against my friend, who was like, oh, we can both play Garna. And I'm like, yeah, let's play fucking my Garna against your Garna. So I got, I've had this particular Garna deck in the back of my brain for a very long time, wondering when am I going to pull the trigger on it to play it in a Commander game. While also knowing that my inspiration for this deck idea is kind of a bit of a fuck-ass deck idea because of the type of loops that you're looking to do with Garna the Bloodflame, who's a 5-mana 3/3 with flash that says when Garna the Bloodflame enters the battlefield, return to your hand all creature cards in your graveyard that were put there from anywhere this turn, and also with some sneaky rules text at the end of the card that says other creatures you control have haste. So
Sure.
you are kind of like, okay, what are you going to do with this card? The haste for other creatures is great if you're trying to like wrap it up, but what are you doing in the meantime? And you were doing some fuck-ass aristocrats nonsense. But compared to the inspiring list and the gameplay loops that Harry, a.k.a. Guild McCommunist, is looking to do, I'm trying to still have my own personal flourish on it while also doing the fuck-ass nonsense. So, what does the fuck-ass nonsense include? So, as part of the creature suite, as well as some other spells that help reduce the cost of creatures, I'm trying to get small things out like, I don't know, Viscera Seer, the Priest of Urabresk, and Gix that allow you to add 3 of their pips, red or black, to your mana pool, along the likes of like Marauding Raptor, Generator Servant, Faller's Faithful, Gal, Feral Youth, and a few other things here and there that like witnessing things dying or causing things to die. And then when you find a way to cut down on the costs of creature spells so you can chain them all out, and then you sacrifice them or they die to state-based effects if you have stuff like Heartless Summoning Out or whatever, then you sack them all and then cast Garna at any time, to which then you also sacrifice her so she returns herself and those giant stack of creatures back to your hand. To which then, maybe you cast something like Death Rattle Oni. Thanks, Benoit, for reminding me about this card so I can put it back in this deck because holy shit, it's time. It's finally time. Aftermath of Death Rattle Oni. It's fucking time. But we also got the usual bullshit suspects of Dargo the Shipwrecker to be a witness of your carnage. Along with the Balrog Durin's Bane to also be a witness to your carnage. So you clear the way, and then you play Garna and sacrifice her to bring that chunk of stuff back to your hand. If you also haven't been surveilling or milling the card, like the cards into your deck, like let's say via Altar of Dementia, or discarding via like Bitter Reunion or God knows what other bullshit nonsense that I'm going to be up to in this deck in the next little bit. So yeah, what truly is there to say except your husband, Sir Conrad, and his fucking demon dog, Dreadhound is in here. And
yeah, I love them.
But do you love this deck? Do you love this idea?
I don't know. I do think it has potential. It's an interesting, like, different play style from you. We haven't really seen, I don't know, traditional aristocrat style play. But this is like, it's got some potential. You can see some neat moves can be taken here. You've got a lot of bodies that are good at attacking, so it doesn't have to be the traditional of just like, I have forgotten what combat is type of aristocrats.
Yeah, like that was the one thing when I sit down as I do with my like 300 or 400 cards on my desk, and I'm like, okay, how am I going to whittle these 300 and 400 cards down into the neat compact package that is 100 cards? To which then, you look at this, like when you take a look at this good old tapped out list here, outside of the very illegal Dockside Extortionist,
Yeah, that's the thing that I definitely remember from like older Garden of the Bloodflame decks. They just go, they start doing Balatro numbers off of that.
Yeah. There are, when you kind of take a look at the curve of the deck and everything, like it peaks more or less at 3. Like the highest amount of density cards is in the 3 mana value slot, and it peaks at 6 mana value. Which it has 2 cards at that mana value, which is, that shit's fucking insane to make it that lean. There's also a few more tutors and like combo searching pieces and a few other like fucky wucky cards that I'm like, I took a look at it and I'm like, I'm not going to be putting Grave Pact or Dictate of Erebos in this deck. I don't have Tortured Fucking Existence in there because I don't fucking own that thing. And honestly, at this point, shit's overplayed, right? Like, there's a certain level of density of these certain cards that I'm like, I'm not going to be putting in 120 demonic, diabolic, tutor shit in here, right? And I still,
maybe you don't need that, but maybe a cheeky little like Rune Scarred Demon would not be amiss.
I was thinking about the one from Call Time, probably. Which one is that? The Rune...
Burning Rune Demon.
Burning Rune Demon. Like, I got one of those somewhere. I know I do. So, maybe maybe something like that. Jury's still out about what the deck is going to be evolving into or whatever. But I also knew that I wanted to add a few more, like, newer cards that still fit the roles that the original deck creator was looking for. Like, oh, he's going to put out Massacre Girl. Yeah, well, I got Electric Seaweed, bitch. What the fuck are you going to do about that? I wanted to slash life totals with Dire Fleet Ravager because I just think fundamentally that card is just so fucking cool.
I like that guy a lot, and making people look at that ETB multiple times in a turn with Karna seems very satisfying.
But yeah, so back to the point is that like my friend Matt loves to make combo decks, and sometimes he, more than anyone else, accidentally tunes his decks in a way where the potential of an early turn 4, turn 5 win exists, but he doesn't always exactly have the method to consistently do it. But when you have when you're playing Russian roulette and you have 20 decks that all have that same potential, there's always going to be a time where it happens at some game rotation. Like, it's not impossible, right? So
you do kind of have to treat them like they could go off at any point, because you don't know that they aren't going to.
And so unfortunately he gets like a grave crawler. I can't remember the Modern Horizons 3 zombie warlock goblin that you sack things, make a treasure, lose a life, and then he had
Born Soul Trader.
Yeah, Born Soul Trader, and he had Blood Artist out, and we're like, okay, Craig, cool, wrap it up.
Man, that doesn't even want Garna.
Well, yeah, like, so it's like, I wanted to, like, avoid that, so I think, I don't have all the usual, like, aristocrats pieces. Like, I still was like, I gotta put in this fancy-ass Judith in here, because she's pretty fucking sweet, and she also pumps up creatures' power by 1, so that, that...
Rakdos Queen, TBH.
Yeah, I got in Spirit of Resilience, from the recent Strixhaven Commander Precons, and it's actually pretty fucking sweet because
yeah, this was doing mad work when I saw you play it the other day.
Having the chance to have Spirit of Resilience become a copy of any of the creatures that you've milled and then returned to hand, I mean, that is like a Balrog Durin's Bane in a pinch if you need that to happen. That could be a
If you just need the haste, you made it into a Garna for a turn, and it was like, that was fine.
Yeah, like, that's acceptable. So I wanted newer cards to kind of get involved with a mix of older cards that were showing up on this other Garna list. Like, I'm not going to not play Grey Merchant of Asphodel. The game needs to end. Is it going to be, I'm going to be a super fuckhead about Grey Merchant of Asphodel? Yeah, because I'm trying to loop it to gain, like, to win the game. Does that mean Garden stays in forever? I don't fucking know. But guess what? Gao, Feral Youth, and Spirit of Resilience as sort of being like this weird linchpin of the whole deck has made this feel really fun to like find a loop for it, And I'm feeling a little like, I don't know what the rest of the cards are going to be looking like later down the line. Like, I got Village Rites and Plumb the Forbidden from both different Strixhaven sets in this deck in the hopes that, if I still need to get like actual card draw in a pinch, they're there if you need it. I got all the altars that you are fearful of. I got Phyrexian Altar, Ashdod's Altar, and Altar of Dementia. And I'm not apologizing for that.
He's got him and he's not afraid to use them.
I got Taval's Judgment because I'm like, I need bodies, I need card draw, I need mana to recast her later. I don't know. I feel like it's this weird intersection of the original inspiration of Harry's Garnet deck, and then the Sauron the Lidless Eye deck that I've made before, where if I'm not sealing your shit, I'm sacking your shit to a like Infernal Plunge or fucking, I don't know, Village Rites or whatever. And like some other tech that I've like picked up over the time, including my weird recent fixation on Summon Primal Odin, where I have definitely killed people several times with this card, then reset Primal Odin to do it again.
Mm-hmm.
And
it happened to me, chat, and it can happen to you too.
Don't be caught slipping. I texted Mike about it. I'm like, oh man, check this shit out, Mike. And he's like, Primal Odin, get the fuck out of here with that. And I'm like, it comes for us all. He's like, no, it won't, because I'll have removal for it. And I'm like, yeah, okay. So yeah.
Here's the real question. This is the kind of deck that looks like it could use a Civ 6 ceremony. Have you considered putting that in at all?
Google help me. Sibsig. I've seen this card.
Mm-hmm.
It's
the weird build around from Tarkir Dragonstorm.
Whenever a creature you control enters, if you cast it, so then you trigger Sibsig's ceremony first to kill Garna, then her trigger goes off.
It's basically a sack outlet.
No, I know, and it still makes you bodies.
And it leaves behind zombies, yeah.
Can I? Well, they got the alt art printing at my store, so yeah, I could probably do it.
I've been playing with the card a bit with like Doctor Doom and other cards that are advantageous if you're doing a little scamming, and I think that like it looks like a perfect fit for this deck.
Yeah, I think that like I could probably not have a hard time hard casting it for that triple black. Like, yes, I got 20 tap lands in my deck. I don't give a shit. Shut the fuck up.
You have Dark Ritual. You can Dark Ritual.
Yeah, Dark Ritual. I could, where the hell is this fucking guy? I keep scrolling up and down. Priest of Gix into it. Like, get it out first, then do that.
Dude, Bog Witch is right there for you.
Bog Witch. Yeah, I know. I know what I'm up to here. So, yeah, I'll snag one and let you know what I'm up to with it.
Hell yeah. Also, shout out to Bog Witch. Truly an incredible Magic the Gathering card.
Wish I didn't have the old border version, but I'm weak and I won't survive the winter, and we all know this.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm hoping to bust this out at my next meetup whenever that happens. And I got cards ready to like, I got the huge maybe board on the side ready to go. Like, but I like my current take on things when I can like I threw out a Dargo and people were like, oh fuck. And then I think I accidentally I came across the Balrog Durin's Bane too late. I'm like, I need to get this fucking guy out here. I need to join Dusa in fucking casting a Balrog of any kind, and this guy fits like a fucking glove in this. And then just a minor flex, foil Thermopod from Cold Snap. I don't know if people are into that, but I'm into that. That seems pretty sweet.
Yeah, I'm pretty into that. I think that's a popular sacrifice outlet in Red. You don't get a whole lot of those. And also, this is making mana. Like, yeah. Get in there.
Okay, let's talk about Bracket 2 Hell.
Oh god, it really is bracket 2 hell,
You're
dude.
fighting for your fucking life?
Yeah.
What?
Hey, so
What the fuck are you doing?
turn all of your creatures into toothy with one simple trick. The trick is playing Queso, Augur of Agonies, and playing Coastal Piracies, so that when your guys deal damage, they draw you cards, and when you draw those cards, you gain life, and the guys that you have dealing damage are Johnny's pride mates, so when you gain that life, you put +1/+1 counters on your guy. You're toothy with extra steps.
Huh. Okay, continue.
So the deck construction is extremely fucking simple. We're on that like recipe here. I got all of my coastal piracies, you know, the recon mission, the Starwinder, the Gix Yawgmoth Praetor, Biden Athasa, the modified creatures one, Angler Shield, or I think Bioorganic Carapace, whatever. We got the Kumanosu the Watchful. I never learned that one. Enduring Curiosities in here. Once they've got counters on them, Yathan Tomb Guard is a coastal piracy. We've also got Grazalax, Timna. We've got the Flitterwing Nuisance, who we can remove counters from to become a coastal piracy. We've got Sig for like one person can deal combat damage and draw a card. It's not quite coastal piracy, but like
it's close enough
I
for
like that
government
guy a
work,
lot.
you know.
Yeah, exactly. So we're just going to stack these effects, and then whenever we deal combat damage, we're going to draw cards, and we'll have Queso around, ideally, so when we draw those cards, we gain a life, and all of the life gain triggers will put +1/+1 counters on our guys. Speaking of guys, this is where we just fucking windmill slam a bunch of Ajani's Pride Mate effects. I got a Nykthos Paragon, I got Minwu White Mage, I got Archangel Athun, I got Fiendish Panda, Destined White Mage, Heliod Suncrown, Aerith Gainsborough, Leonardo Cutting Edge. I got fucking Cleric of Life spawned in here. There's an Essence Channeler and Amalia, the classic Ajani's Pride Mate himself. We got Cleric class and also Sunbond. Each one of these are turning. Yes, there's a lot of them.
Shit! Like what the fuck?
It turns out this is a pretty popular strategy, gaining life and putting +1/+1 counters on your guys. So we can just fucking. We have a lot of redundancy for that deck slot.
How is this not scaring the hose in bracket 2 MTGO?
Great fucking question. It's rough out there. People are playing bullshit.
Yeah, they're doing infinitely worse things than this. This is pure magic, all right? This is just
we will talk about some bullshit. We'll get there. Don't worry.
All right.
For the rest of this deck construction shit, though, I got the vegetables. You know, the thing about coastal piracy is that works when you're like doing the thing, but if you're facing off against like removal typal, or you have a bunch of opponents who have set themselves up with a bunch of blockers and you can't get through, you have to diversify your investments, and that's why I'm also on my fucking classic Empress Quinn look and put card advantage package. You know, we're on the stock up, the drawn from dreams, the impulse, the anticipate. Like, I'm looking at the top X, I'm putting cards from that into my hand, I'm putting the rest on the bottom. You know those.
Yeah.
And these are going to enable us to find the right cards that we can use to like plug back into our synergy machine, whatever pieces we're missing. And then there's removal. I got just like a bunch of standard ass removal because you gotta fucking protect your neck. It's rough out there. And Invasion of Innistrad, I'm just gonna keep hollering about its peak. -13, get fucked. And it flips into graveyard hate. We also are on other exile target thing removal because when I want a thing gone, I want it removed from the fucking game entirely.
I mean, Servanem does a lot of work in this fucking deck just by himself.
Servanem is my fucking goat. I love that guy. All right, so gameplay experiences. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you, Chief. I've only had like 2 games on this, and they both felt like I brought the wrong deck for the metagame.
Oh no!
Yeah. So game 1 on MTGO, it was air quotes bracket 2, it said that in the description. So you like, here I am putting my fucking clown makeup on. We're in a 3-player game because somebody conceded early. So I'm putting even more clown makeup on. This is not going to be a good experience. And one of the gamers was on some like actual, like a straight up precon serving the ideal bracket 2 experience. And one of the other gamers was deliberately misinterpreting, I think. They're on some real bullshit. They've got fucking moat that just says creatures without flying can't attack. They're on Luminarch Ascension. They're on Removal Typal. They got Token Generation. They're on, I think, at least one piece of non-game changer fast mana. Not even like Soul Ring on that. Like, they were on one of the legal Moxen. And they just, like, all of the bullshit that they're putting out did not feel like that they were approaching this in the spirit of Bracket 2. And the homie on the precon, like, scooped because they're like, what the fuck is all of this? And then they, in the chat, nobody fucking gets Bracket 2 here, and then leave. And I'm just like, agreed, bro. Bracket 2 sucks here. I have removal and card advantage, so I'm like, not necessarily always getting in there for a coastal piracy trigger, but I do have some look inputs that I'm using to dig deeper to find the interaction that I put in the deck, because I have enough of that in here. And I'm just like, I can't do this and develop my board state and have forward momentum because you also have every fucking piece of removal.
Yeah,
and I'm just like, I can't move forward in this game, and it's just me against you when we really need to be able to arch enemy you if we're like Bracket 2 bullshit now here. And we died. I looked upon their board state and saw that they had all of the counters that they needed for Luminarch Ascension, and they would just get to untap and empty the clip on that for a bunch of 4/4s, and I have like 2 cards in hand and basically nothing to say about that. So I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna move on and concede there. So that didn't go the way that I wanted it to at all, but I think we had at least one of Johnny's Pride mate while Keza was out, while we had a coastal piracy, and all of that worked.
When it worked, it was great.
Yeah, you just get like one trigger of doing that before removal bros like, and it's time for a wrath. Game 2 was on Lexicon stream. This was like a bracket 2 deck, and maybe you see a lot of cards, but gamers were playing better cards on average. Like, somebody's gonna rip the fucking Roboroid on you, and you just gotta hold that.
I heard about that. It's like, are you for real right now? That's the thing. I mean, I'll let you finish up here. I'll let you finish the thought, but
so yeah, that deck couldn't hold its own in the bracket 3 stream metagame. Much like the above experience, we get like 1 to 2 triggers off and get to like point at the screen like, this is what I built the deck to do. All of my Johnny's Pride mates are dealing combat damage and gaining a life when I draw a card and getting a +1/+1 counter. It's build your own toothy. Ultimately, it was not high impact enough. These are playing much better quality cards on average, and so we just have to meet them where they are.
Yeah, that is the thing, right? Is that when people have been talking about bracket 2 and bracket 3 a lot in like written articles and podcasts and some of the chats that we've been having, right? And it's hard when you're like, I want to obviously put as many you're like, hey, let's fucking a Johnny's Pride mate typal.deck. Like, let's try and make the fucking dream happen, right? And then, but then you're like, oh God, I have to fucking eat my vegetables beyond what feels appropriate for the deck concept, that because other people are they're playing just a bit better than what you're able to pull off. They got better resources, or they're like, oh, hey, check out my fucking game changer budget on Ristic Study, and you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
It could have been me, but no, I'm playing fucking Keza fucking Johnny's Pride mate in bracket 2, trying to chill the fuck out, and no one's fucking chill.
I do think that this deck has potential, but it's definitely a deck for the mid-smokers, and I don't know if I want to put the work in to make that playable in bracket 3.
No.
So if somebody out there actually likes this deck idea, take a look at that, and you like Loud Pack. It has to be both. You have to like Loud Pack, and you have to like the deck idea. Take a look at this and get back to me with some ways that we can maybe make it playable in bracket 3 so that I don't have to do it myself.
Well, I Quinn, I don't know how to tell you this. You need to stop playing bracket 2 games on MTGO.
I am more and more not playing bracket 2 games on MTGO, if I'm being totally honest.
It's just,
It's not worth the effort anymore. There's fucking... It sucks, and I need to just, like, have better cards because...
You can't trust anyone out there. You
really can't.
They're fuckers. They're all a bunch of fuckers. They think they're so fucking slick. They're like, oh, hey, look at me. The spirit of bracket 2. Gotcha, bitch. And you're like... Wow, you sure got me. Egg on my face. Like, fuck.
And sometimes they don't even fucking, like, wink conspiratorially at the camera. Sometimes they'll join a bracket 2 game and rip the Teferi's protection right in front of your face.
Nah.
And there's no consequences.
Where is the deck check by MTGO to be like, hey, fucker, you said this is bracket 2, but it's clearly bracket 3 because you got a fucking fuck-ass game changer in here. And then people were like, hey, MTGO, don't fucking snitch on me. I'm trying to fucking, like, fuck you. I hate you guys.
Yeah.
And the MTGO team is not paid enough to fucking create a fucking deck checker specifically on the MTGO program for Commander. Like, no.
Yeah.
So, yeah. We salute you for your efforts.
Thank you. I pray for a day where we get better bracket 2 games on MTGO, but otherwise I think we're just going to stick to playing at 3 there and then play bracket 2 with the homies.
There you go. All right. Do you think you're ready to, like, close out the episode with this little soapbox idea we got down here?
Yeah, let's get into it.
Okay. Hit the music.
All right.
All right. So this isn't gonna be like a formal, polished soapbox.
Bro did not write the PowerPoint.
No, I'm not doing that. Our best work is when we're talking from the heart, and I have 20 ums and ahs involved. So
that's your best work. My best work is when I write the fucking PowerPoint.
Yeah, sure. All right. In this case, I'm putting you on the spot and you're joining me for this. So, that was last month, actually. The beginning of last month, Bulldog reached out over on Blue Sky and was like, do you all have an episode on rebalancing decks towards worse cards? I need more mids in my cardboard life. Well, that is what Smoking Mids is for. But very much in, like, you know, let's take a look at the recent example of what Empress Quinn just presented here with a bracket 2K's deck of, like, take a subpar concept and do what you can with it within the confines of the bracket. The other thing, too, I think, primarily what affects a lot of people, I can only speak now for myself, and I can't speak for other people. If we are not factoring in what your level of accessibility is, like, if you just hit printer, go burr, then I guess this is for you, where you need to stop printing burr cards on your printer and print some, like, real fucking mids, just so you, like, don't just play Ristic Study, you know? Like, that feels like an obvious answer. But let's say you're playing a blue deck. This is where I'm going to go with this. Hear me out.
All right.
You know, you could be a fuckhead and play Mana Drain, right?
Mm-hmm.
And no one's going to like you if you try and just casually play Mana Drain, right? So you do have to sit back and be like, okay, if people are reacting like this to Mana Drain, what can I do to make it harder for either myself to piggyback off someone like that, right? I always recommend, what's the fucking 5 mana counter spell that gives you treasures?
Spell Swindle. Oh, dude.
Like, Spell Swindle.
I cast an actual factual hex a couple months ago.
Yeah.
And got hit with the Spell Swindle targeting that. And it was the purest commander, like, casual experience.
Yeah, like, first of all, hey, good on you for casting Hex. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, dude, Hex actually rules.
No, but that's also another thing too, right? Where it's like, okay, so like, here's the, like, not even factoring rebalancing a whole deck of making everything strictly worse. You don't want to be doing that, but like, here's one of the things. Play that strictly worse counterspell that still maybe gives you something. Like, play one of the new 3 mana counterspells that helps you rummage or something, or maybe even just like conditionally draws you a card depending on when it's countering.
Yeah, I think to crystallize a bit of that, as far as the Mana Drain example in particular, you take whatever the like best in slot effect is that you were looking at, the thing that is the most consistent, the most like known quantity of this is a good ass fucking card, like Mana Drain, and you swap that with something that's going to make you feel like you're fucking flexing on your friends for playing it. All right, you get their asses with you find the villain's lair, you explode their shit with Spell Swindle, you play a fucking overcosted counterspell that's like dab on you.
Yeah. You know, and like when you're looking at your removal or in ways of like, okay, take the Empress Quinn route of proactively protecting your stuff via people can't cast spells on your turn. Now those effects tend to be really expensive, but like maybe you don't need to always have your counter magic up or your heroic interventions or whatever. Maybe make some of the cards that are like all-encompassing protection have a bit of a clause where there's enough wiggle room for your opponents to get around it, right? What is that? So years ago, I think I remember the professor was recommending this random green spell that I think gave your creatures regenerate for the turn.
That sounds like Rapid Vigor.
Rapid Vigor, yeah. So it's like, okay, you don't have to play, you know, this goes into budget stuff too, but I don't know how expensive Rapid Vigor is anymore. Probably.
This is like a $2 card.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're looking at this versus Heroic Intervention, yeah, Heroic Intervention is going to fucking... It's heroic fucking intervention, all right?
Like, do you know what it's like to hit someone with a heroic intervention for them to try and counterspell it, and then you play the gift card version in white from Bloomborough immediately right afterward? Just be like, nah, fuck off.
Dawn's Truce.
Dawn's Truce. Be like, I'm also going to cast Dawn's Truce. Like people are like, okay, fuck off at that point, right?
You know, it's way more satisfying to rip the Rapid Vigor and have them ask, what fucking year is it? And then you get to dab on them, unless they're playing specifically Wrath of God or Damnation.
Yeah, in which case, like, egg on your face.
Then you do just get fucked.
You know,
But that makes for funny fucking moments.
Yeah.
I have had literally this experience happen where I had Yeehaw Get Rog and I had the Rapid Vigor in my hand and bro cast the Damnation and I'm just like on my knees gripping the sand on the beach like, no, it had to be specifically Damnation.
Yeah, no, it's like, this is how we sort of rekindle our appreciation for the older cards. Like, our board waves have gotten so ridiculous now and so efficient. But then what happens if you do rip a Damnation or, you know, we got Damn now, right? Like, I sometimes feel like I don't see enough Damn in those Orzhov plus X whatever decks of like, here's the targeted removal side, here's the board wipe version, and you kind of get to move on, right? So like, here's the way to look at it. I'm like trying to go through the steps that I think you can take in a general sense and like even think about like what I've done. So the first things first is like you add mana to whatever effect that you're looking for, right? It could just be 1 mana. It could be 2 or whatever, but like you can take the effort of like, if you're willing to hold up more mana for whatever reason, for your interaction, or you're going to pay more mana for certain creatures or artifacts or whatever, have it cost a little bit more mana. You know, that's one way of slowing yourself down. The other step is like, I've constantly grilled Quinn over playing instants, but sometimes like you can take an instant speed effect and then be like, I have to proactively cast the sorcery version in a way that's beneficial, right? And we have a lot of good sorceries in Magic. I think that goes without saying, but it's just like taking an effect, like take a destroy effect. There's some really good targeted sorcery speed spell effects that can do a lot of work, but most people will look at it and be like, well, why would I do it slower than having the freedom to do whatever, right? But I think there's merit in imposing restrictions on yourself via when you can cast a spell. And sometimes it's those moments again where you're like, yeah, I main phase cast this spell, raw dog it for 5 mana. What you gonna do? And everyone's like, oh my fucking God. Like, have you ever Cataract Leviathan your opponents on your main phase with a giant fuck off Leviathan? And everyone's like, why aren't you playing Psych Rift? And I'm like, have you seen what Psych Rift does to people? I think this is doing more psychic damage on its own,
Yeah. If homies are reaching for that generous gift again and they have the capacity to play a Boros card, bro, sleeve up Orem's Thunder.
Yeah, Orem's Thunder. Yeah. I was thinking about...
that one will make you feel like you're fucking flexing on them. They're like, what the fuck year is this from? And then you get to say, actually, I'm blowing up that thing and I'm hitting your fuck ass creature for it too because I kicked it.
There's one of these cards that has always been in the back of my head of this sort of like pseudo fog in Boros all the way back from Alara Reborn. And that is Intimidation Bolt. I don't know how this intersects with this, but hear me out. So it's 1 red and a white for an instant that says it deals 3 damage to target creature, but other creatures can attack this turn, right? Who the fuck? Who is playing Intimidation Bolt, right? But it's so goofy and so niche, and maybe you kill something, right? But this is like the way that you could start like weaponizing spells like this in a really weird way where everyone's like, oh, like that's really interesting. You don't just have an instant shut off button that some other effects do. So I'm trying to think here. Cutting out your game changers, like you can make solid bracket 3 decks without game changers. This has been proven time and time again. Quinn is fighting for a fair life against them all the time in bracket 2 MTGO. You can... What did someone say? I feel like I read something recently where someone was like this. Hold on. I know I had this card and we talked about it. Either we talked about it or someone else that we know talked about it, either on our cast or somewhere. Fucking Glimpse the Impossible, right? Like, you don't have to play Juska's Will. You could take that out and play Glimpse the Impossible, where you either get bodies or you get card advantage, right? And
yeah, you can also play Inspired Tinkering as another Juska's Will at home. I think both of those have been equally satisfying. If you just need the mana half, you can also just cast Rousing Refrain.
Yeah.
That'll feel pretty good. And you get to keep doing that one. So if your meta is the one where you're going to have enough time for that resuspend to matter, then take a look at that.
Yeah. I don't have necessarily any examples off the top of my head. I guess the only other thing, I guess, too, I can only speak for myself and probably the frustration of a lot of people with a lot of recent legendary creature designs is that sometimes they do the thing you want them to do to get you ahead. They give you card draw or they give you mana, right? And so if you're playing a legendary creature in the zone that like you're obviously trying to ramp into, and if you get it out, it becomes pretty disproportional, like the type of advantage that it gives you, right? you sometimes have to sit back and be like, can I get half of this effect in the zone with the same color combination? Can I have my 99 compensate for the one half that I'm looking at this thing for? Like, I'm playing Ashling, jumpstart into 4 mana, right? But what if I need to shift gears and like Ashling isn't doing the work anymore, or people are getting tired of it or getting smart to what I'm doing, right? You know, is the next step playing a blue card from Baldur's Gate and then putting Guild Artisan in like the command zone too? Or, you know, like...
Yeah, that's one way to approach that. You could also drop a color from that and play, what's his name from Dragonstorm, Sarkhan, who makes a treasure if you behold a dragon. You can do the same style of like large ramp package, but you don't have access to the blue mana, which is a source of frustration for a lot of gamers.
Mm-hmm. Like essentially, I guess like the roundabout way, I guess what we're going for here is like add a color. Well, not add a color, because adding a color probably either makes it stronger or not. You know, remove a color, add a mana or two to certain spells or effects, which usually means going back to an older card and usually a cheaper card. So you could go pick it up.
Not always. Sometimes if you want to deal some damage to a creature, like in the case of Light of Judgment, which is a spell that I love to fucking flex on people by casting.
All right, hold on a second.
They have plenty of deal 4 damage or whatever for pretty cheap, but if you hit them with the Light of Judgment, you spend 5 whole ass mana, and this one's from Final Fantasy, so you know it's not always old cards. This one blows up the creature for like 6 damage and then destroys up to 1 equipment attached to that creature. I get to fucking 2 for 1 your ass.
Yeah.
Get dabbed on.
I guess the one other thing too is that if you know your if your deck is gas, because you know, like when you hear about like those hyper budget decks that are like they're condensed to do the one thing really efficiently, and sometimes it's like, hey, take the tutors out or figure out like what type of card draw engines that you have available and how like either strong or, you know, can they stand on their own and they're pretty resilient, or are you willing to add a little fragility to your deck for maybe adding in a strategy that you never considered before? It's like dilute, remove a color, add some mana to spells. I'm trying to think of another one of just like go a little more off the beaten path, right? There's a lot of cards.
A great way to, I think, go off the beaten path, like you're saying, is to find the thing that you're looking for specifically from the busted version of this effect, and search that card, and then scroll down on the bottom on Scryfall and click the open in tagger. This is going to show you a lot of other fucking cards that you have access to in the game. I am taking a look at impulsivity here because that's what I had open, and then I scroll down in the tags and there's a bunch of recursion, instant, or gives castable from graveyard for depending on what you look or what you are looking for from that card specifically. Let's just click on gives castable from graveyard. This is going to show you all of the things that are that same sort of recursion that grants you can cast this from a graveyard, and you can find one of these that is either lesser known or fucking more style points.
Yeah. Everyone knows Galadriel's Dismissal, right? Like, what a card, so fucking nuts, so flexible.
Yeah.
You can even use it offensively against an opponent, right? When you're paying like for the full kicker cost and everything. Like, you can really take someone out by doing that, right? But let's say you want to like split that effect in half in terms of like how you...
Yeah, how do I smoke mids instead of playing the loud pack of Galadriel's Dismissal?
So on the one half, and we're still looking at like instant speed here, but hear me out. Foundations had Divine Resilience with the same mana cost and the same kicker cost to protect your stuff. target creature you control gains indestructible if the spell was kicked. Instead, any number of target creatures you control gain indestructible until end of turn. So that's literal pennies for a very similar effect if you're using it for yourself as an example, right? But what if you're looking to do something from an offensive standpoint against your opponent? Thank you, Joey Schultz, for talking about it in the Smoking Mids episode just now. Good old Gezerai Monk, where when Gezerai Monk enters, and you can do this at instant speed too, where you can tap all creatures you don't control. So if you're looking to clear the way, maybe even incentivize your other opponents to attack the other, tapped opponents that you have, for a bit more mana, for 5, you can still create heavy offensive pressure. Congratulations, you have now successfully turned 1 card into 2 cards that are still enough wiggle room for you to have some fail points. Like, Divine Resilience says indestructible. It does not mean that they have hexproof like some of the other classic examples. So they can also get hit with the good old Toxic Deluge or whatever after the fact. You're like, aha, Divine Resilience. They're like, it's still my main phase, Toxic Deluge for whatever. And you're like, fuck. And then obviously the other way is you do one thing defensively or offensively. Someone attempts to go to combat, you cast Gezerai Monk, save yourself, maybe the table from a big old swing out, and then you turn the heat up when it's your turn.
Shout out to the homies from LCP. You can also fucking blust on them with Bluster Squall.
This is true. Good old Bluster Squall coming in clutch. Who doesn't love Cone of Cold or Sleep if you're looking to like target one person or have the chance of targeting everyone, Yeah, it's just, you have to do your research, right? Is what it comes down to. We have a robust catalog of spells to pull from nowadays. We're at over 30,000 cards.
Yeah, and Scryfall is literally like, there's not another database in card games that's that good. Like, we are so spoiled by having Scryfall, but just take advantage of all of the features that she has for you, and she will show you a lot of really cool fucking cards that you've never seen before in your life.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm not sure what else to do because I did talk about this over with Kaz on their episode when it came to Spite Brewing and how my attitude tends to be like, you sometimes have to make adjustments for a communal experience. I know some people are like, well, I'm bringing my deck to the table and everyone else has to deal with it, and if I'm the problem, that's the way it is. And I think that's a piss poor attitude. Like, if people are like, damn, your deck's real strong, then take those expensive, really robust and really ridiculous cards, put them to the side, switch it up for something that's just not quite as good, and you can still get mileage out of it. And maybe you might even have people be like, hold on, dog, what are you playing there? Holy shit.
Hell yeah.
I don't know. And you know what? Like, I think the other thing too, you have to keep in mind, maybe you don't actually want to do that. Maybe you do it and it doesn't feel good. Then you know what? You figured it out. You're going to make it other people's problem. They just need to get good. And guess what, people? You can listen to us and be like, cool, I'll just Sarai Monk them now. And if that's what you take away from this, then I consider that a win.
This bro out here trying to sell more copies of Get the Sarai Monk.
Well, it's either that or great sort of tier. And Lenny and Joey already did that, so.
Yeah, you did buy those out.
I did indeed. So yeah, I don't know. I don't think there's much more to say about that. I think we've said all we need to say.
Yeah, well, let me know how that works for you, Bulldog.
All right.
So tell the people where we're at online.
Yeah, changed it up a little bit. Hey, it's me, the Bloodrick guy, over on Blue Sky, and you can see Quinn over at Girl Dick Energy. And then to our slightly tweaked Blue Sky social account at HBVC-radio-MTG. That's where we're usually reposting whatever we've been up to lately. Oh shit, fuck, wait. Editor Cole, hold on. Scratch the music for a second. I feel like a fucking asshole. maybe I insert this earlier. I don't know. Hey, Cascade. Mike Carosa wrote an article that actually maybe works out perfectly for this thing. Holy shit. If you buy into Cascade, you can read Mike Carosa's article called A Case for Pizzazz in the Age of Redundancy, where he wrote a bit about me in there. Let's go, my ego. But if you do want to have more fun in Commander, the obvious answer is find some ways to depower your decks and be willing to give yourself some flex spots to flex on other people with some older cards or cooler cards that you wouldn't normally expect in that environment. Anyway, so otherwise, let people know about the podcast, or maybe let people know about us playing over on MTG Lexicon, the Die Bar VDH. We be doing Commander on Saturdays, and it sounds like D&D is going to be back on in a near future Friday. I believe that's going to be on August 14th. So go check.
Hell yeah.
Lenny's going to be back on.
It.
That's it. We're on out of here.
Later, gamers.